Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So first things first, I need to regime change Cuba. So what that's going to do is this is going to cost my... it's going to cost me some relations with them, and it's going to cost our Alliance of Democratic States some cohesion. But here's the thing. My base cohesion is being reduced to a really, really low level by not having a compatible government. Oh my goodness, same deal with Canada. Interesting. Well, we'll take a look into that. Let's hit that regime change button. And then Canada we can't regime change yet because we're not because they haven't been in this thing long enough. But that should put... Okay, no, I still have a low base cohesion. All right, so what's our cohesion limit? We got 100 from this. Hard to say. Anyway, we need to hit Canada in a little bit. I can see exactly when by looking at my truce with Great Britain. My truce with Great Britain is ended. Right, because it took us longer to get Canada in here. Alright, so I need to be careful about this. So it's currently 4 years. Ah, there we go. The first transcontinental railway. Excellent. The first transcontinental railway, with the route between the Atlantic and Pacific complete. The door is open for greater settlement of the American West. With this golden spike we call for the unity of our country, as this railroad unites the two great oceans of the world. We will settle the Great Plains, so this provides a railway throughput bonus and a migration attraction bonus to a bunch of states in the Great Plains. That's Missouri, Louisiana, Wyoming, Texas, Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa. Or the West Coast shall be just as prosperous as the East, provides the same bonuses to Washington, California, Nevada, Utah, and Alaska. Not Oregon, interestingly. We're doing a naval run, so I'm going to settle the coast. Speaking of which, I wanted to build some shipyards in California so that I can have... Because theoretically, this would allow ships to be created over here. We'll see if that happens. It's not just shipyards, it's military shipyards, isn't it? Where the heck are my shipyards? Hold on. No, yeah, these produce steamers. Military shipyards. Am I dumb? Hold on. Hold on. This is where the shipyards thing is. No, this is the other thing. These are the regular ship. Oh, these produce steamers and ship construction. Got it. All right. I figured it out, y'all. Oh man, embarrassing. All right, let's throw these at the top of the queue. Reduce construction efficiency in California. Oh, because of the mountains. Yeah. Or the forests in this case. Not to worry. We're very chill about that. All right, so it's March of 83, and I'm going to keep an eye on Canada because beautiful. Get regime changed, idiot. All right, so now Canada has voting, and so does Cuba. And that's cost me a lot of cohesion, but now our base cohesion is at... Oh, right, it's this thing here. Current cohesion value 90. So we're going to get there pretty fast. Let me see. Yeah, weekly change by 1. So hopefully that shouldn't goof up my leverage for too long. A campaign of banquets. Joshua Norton's attendance at a bourgeois fundraising banquet in Washington has led to an uptick in funds promoting compulsory public school. As the organizer at the end of the table stood up to give a toast to the clear wisdom of reform, he could not help but think of how closely the sound of his fork on the glass represented a coin falling into a bank or a spent cartridge hitting the ground. Nourishment for the body and the budget. 10% increased enactment speed and success chance. extra political strength and political strength from wealth in DC only, or vast sums of money flowing into politics, you say. Same modifiers for DC, double the enactment bonuses, but Joshua Norton gets the trait grifter. I'm going to do the second one. I don't particularly feel bothered by Joshua Norton becoming a grifter. In fact, that's completely fine with me. Alright. Alright. So yeah, so by the end of the year we should be up to divided, and that'll soften my leverage issue. Because right now I need to make sure that Canada doesn't slide back into British control, which I don't think they will, but it could happen. Oil has been discovered in Bolivar. Excellent. Do we have an oil market in our market? Wow. We are using a lot of hardwood, my nerds. Just a ton. Probably from all the shipbuilding that I'm doing. But I need those ships, so that just is what it is. And there's compulsory primary school. Beautiful. So, what this does is it gives us an extra 2 levels of education to play with. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That's going to eat a big chunk of my excess bureaucracy, but that's okay. Alright, now, we have the option of putting in workers' rights. Interesting. So regulatory bodies doesn't say it does anything. On the other hand, I just did compulsory primary school, so I need to keep an eye on my industrialists to make sure I don't piss them off too much. I could go to right to associate. Industrialists would be very firmly against, and petite bourgeoisie would too. Corporatized unions be. Labor associations have been brought under the direct or indirect control of the state, serving foremost as a means to facilitate collaboration between classes. Extra radicals and loyalists from a standard of living changes. Ooh, that's a tough sell, because I've had a real spike in radicals since I did this. I'm gonna leave the laws alone maybe for a minute. Let me see, when's my next election? My next election is in 84. Maybe I'll leave the laws alone for a second. I'm going to public health insurance, but I'm not in a shortage of population right now, so I don't necessarily want to do that. Could go to poor laws. That would give me extra food security and welfare payments. If I went all the way to old age pensions, reduced workforce ratio could be good. Higher building wage target, though. Not sure what to make of that. I'll leave that. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it alone for now. Anyways, I'm going after stuff abroad. I'm doing a political aggression, a military aggression in the Nile Basin. What else does my market need? We still need more. We need more glassworks. That's good. That's a good problem to have. Let's go ahead and throw 5 levels in South Dakota. 5 levels in Pennsylvania. 2 levels in Massachusetts. That'll be good. Do have access to textiles. Can we make more money producing more luxury clothes? We think we can. Do the same in Gondar. Yeah, let's go for it. Alright, wargaming. Emperor of Korea backs down. Oh, come on. Ah, gosh dang it. Britain got there first. Japan. My friends. Let's talk about investment rights. You don't wish to give me investment rights. You would like a guarantee of independence, but you know what you would like more, I bet, is money! Perfect. 1,000 pounds. If we have this locked in for 25 years, tell you what, 50 years will get us basically all the way to the end of the campaign, right? Okay, no. Let's go with 25 years. We'll do a major treaty. A major treaty. 1,000 pounds a week for investment rights. Send proposal. Wonderful. Declaration of Edo. Hey, speaking of which, how about trade privileges? Oh, you would like to give me trade privileges. That's lovely. What about a Power Bloc embassy? You would like trade privileges from me, but instead of trade privileges, how about money? Oh no, that Power Bloc, you really don't want to have that Power Bloc embassy, huh? That's fine. So that's interesting. Is this just like a unilateral thing for nothing? No strait closure, maybe? No tolls? No tolls. In exchange for, say, $30. It's worth +1. Oh, you can't. I can't do $30. What a tragedy. We'll do another 1,000. That'll lock them in, and they'll be good for it. 25 years? No. Okay. All right. So 25 to 50 is the break point. All right. No tolls. Can I also get straight access, perhaps? I can. Beautiful. You will take my money. Shut up and take my money. I do the threaten naval hostilities button. I'm not going to do that. Let's be friends, Japan. I see Great Britain trying to do stuff around here. So it's interesting. I think Great Britain just straight up lost the Opium Wars. Ooh, Dynam is holding this area, which I don't think they. I think they're only holding part of in the original in our timeline as of this time. Oh, they managed to annex what you call it? Luang Prabang? No, they're up there. Champasak's here. It's Cambodia. It's Cambodia. They've annexed Cambodia. Wow. Wow. Alright. Any other continental relationships which need to be maintained? I could improve relations with Austria. Not that that's... Let's improve relations with Hungary as well. We'll get both of these fellas together. Now, Ottomans, you're my rivals. So relations are bad, which is not shocking. Better to have friends in the continent. What if your Tuscany's a British subject? Gosh dang. Alright. Now that we've done some diplomacy, we're almost there in the Nile Basin. It's just going to be a few more weeks. How's the Power Bloc looking? Beautiful. We're already up into divided. And no problems with Canadian. Perfect. Perfect. Oh wow, I've been my industrialists have been really investing in Canada. Actually, my industrialists are chock full of cash. I should be well, tell you what, I'll finish this build out of glass production. I still could use more iron though, to be fair. Michigan's got a lot of iron. Where have I got a lot of pops available? Wow, Wisconsin's got a lot of people available. And some starvation issues, which is a little weird. Plenty of infrastructure available. So, we'll build some maize farms, some livestock ranches, and then we'll just max out iron mines. There's our new mandate. This is going to come fast and at a good clip now. So we did market unification 2. If we go to market unification 3, that will get us what? Extra supply ships construction efficiency. That's very, very good. I want that. I want that real good. Oh, that's my favy. Joshua Norton has retired. You did a lot of work, Josh. We delicious. We appreciate the hard work which you have done. I think I need more construction sectors. Let's build up some construction capacity in Africa. We'll do 2 levels in Oromia, 2 levels in Somaliland, 2 levels in Gondar, and 2 levels in Eritrea. That means we need, to get to 100, we need 6 more levels. We'll do, there's 1 in Panama. So clip to 1 in Panama. Now, where was my place where I did 1 out of 2? Oh no! Hold on. We'll sort by levels and we'll figure this out. Alaska. Alright. So that puts me back at, okay, now I need 4 more. Alright. 2 in Guyana. 2 in Colorado. I'll put all of these at the top of the queue because they're going to go really fast. And then we'll get going. Alright, should have this by now. Beautiful. So, Egypt is no longer at war with the Ottoman. So this might be a little bit more dicey than it would be. But, Ottoman Empire will not get involved. Britain will not get involved. Okay, I don't see any other European powers on this here sliding scale. Bulgaria might step in. But I'm not afraid of them. Ethiopia is still in the middle of a radical revolt. Morocco, not bothered by that. I don't want to force a diplomatic play necessarily because I have other moves that I can do in the meantime. So let's just go ahead and give me Sinai. Give me Sinai, Egypt. Well, they said no. Tragic, but I completely understand your position. Loitering. Incredible. I'm sorry. I love the description of the United States Marine Corps as loitering in Ethiopia. That's so good. Alright, we'll mobilize the Army of Africa. We'll raise their conscripts and send them over. Yeah, well, I don't know why they're crossing enemy territory, but it is what it is. Alright, so, Oceanic Fleet is currently projecting power. That's fine. Does Egypt have fleets? They have 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and send... Let's see. The Pacific Fleet's not in a great spot. Atlantic Fleet... George Dewey needs another promotion. Now he's a Grand Admiral. He's so grand. Alright. We've gotten... Oh my goodness, I finished my ship construction queue. Bananas. Simply bananas. Do I send the Atlantic Fleet there? Is that what I do? I think so. Meanwhile... let's put some modern ships into the Pacific Fleet. In fact, I think it might be time to start retiring some of these old, some of these frigates. It's 1884. But we'll see. Let's build 5 modern ironclads. And for the cruisers, we'll build 20 iron frigates. And that'll be good. Where are we tech-wise? Okay, we're 17 months away from modern dreadnought. I think I'm going to leave the Oceanic Fleet doing what they're doing right now. And if the Egyptian fleet comes unknocking, then that will simply be what it is. Force comparison looks rock solid. The Army of Africa should be able to raise its conscripts because those conscripts are located in Africa. Supplies looking good. So how much? Okay, so some supply is being used by the U.S. Marine Corps. Forgot to add my other war goals. Alright, so I want the rest of Eritrea. I want Blue Nile and Kordofan, but I don't need them immediately. Protectorate would be worth 48 infamy, which is quite a bit. So Blue Nile would be 13.4 infamy. And let's take a look at who's involved here. Only the Ottomans, Bulgaria, Ethiopia. I can go a little buck wild here, but I can only run a little buck wild. So let's transfer subject. Oh, I can get the Hijaz. Well, I don't necessarily want that. Kordofan would be 8.9. Blue Nile would be 14.3. Eritrea. I hope I'm pronouncing Eritrea correctly. You're 6. Okay. Eritrea I definitely want. Could add that to the primary. How much the Egyptian economy is in Blue Nile? There's quite a bit. Quite a bit going on in Blue Nile. I think we'll make a limited war from here. I think we'll add Eritrea to the primary. But that's all we'll do for now. I should have waited a minute. Because they're carrying troops. Does the project power mission... It just generates involvement. We'll probably get them doing other stuff soon. Alright, Army of Africa. Okay, conscripts are being raised. Perfect. So that's happening. That's working right now. Force comparison's looking good. Yeah, so I'm feeling pretty confident overall. Oil in Nebraska. Do I have an oil market in my market, as it were? I must, because I must have some amount of whaling. Actually, we're exporting a lot of oil. Dang. I could build up some oil supplies. This is the ship queue. We're mostly working on iron mines. I could build up some oil. With that having been said, I want to let the private sector do that because this number is making me nervous. I don't know why they have various armies going to various locations, but I'm very confident in my ability to win this. Let's see what they've got. They do have, yeah, they have mobile artillery and skirmish infantry, so I'm very far up ahead of them technologically. So that should be just fine. Did I start improving my schools? I did. Beautiful. So that is going to spike my literacy. I'm having a little bit of a problem with standard of living. Oh, right. That's because my current leader is cruel. Yeah, that'll do it. Alright. Now, my enemies are going to have war support protection, but I have pretty solid confidence in my ability to get to Nile without too much of a problem. There's the entrenched front event. Although I guess we're going to have to conquer the capital to get there, so it's not that big of an issue. The entrenched front. Heavy use of trenches in Blue Nile by Philip Sheridan has turned the land into a blasted hellscape. The stalemate cannot last forever, but it's not clear what the best way forward is. Have you ever been there in the trenches? It's less lonely than you'd think. You have friends everywhere. The rats will be with you every day at night, and even when your mates die, they'll stay right there with you, just down below in the mud. We must entrench further in Blue Nile. Philip Sheridan gets trench rat. The area gets 10% devastation, and plus 10 mortality and minus 10%, plus 10% mortality and minus 10% throughput for agriculture, ranches, and plantations for 10 years. Or we can't let our defenses stagnate. He doesn't become a trench rat. Half the devastation, only 7% mortality and agriculture, ranch, and plantation throughput penalties, and 6k progress for free on defense and depth. Or we need a breakthrough. Same modifiers as the last one. 8k progress on stormtroopers. Ew. With that being said, I think I want the free progress on defense and depth because that's what I want. So I'm going to go after that one. Students rally to the labor movement. A group of students attending the University in Pennsylvania have arranged a demonstration in support of the labor movement. This display has inspired other students to join the cause. The lecture hall was barren. There were always one or two students missing for illnesses, travel, or family occasions, but nothing of this scale. There were 3 or 4 students per row, each thrown into sharp contrast by the empty seats to their sides. It was material for a lecture of its own, he thought, like a heap of sand whose grains had blown away one after another until its form suddenly changed. So followed what had once been a class. The youth will lead the United States into the future. Pennsylvania gets extra universal pop strength, reduced university throughput, and stronger labor movement. Or they ought to focus on their studies. Half the modifiers for Pennsylvania and 5% academics pops become radical, but no modifier for the labor movement. I'm going to focus on the second one. I don't necessarily need a stronger labor movement right now. Ooh, rotary valve engine. That's fun. New method for sugar plants. That's good. Let's take a quick look at that. Education's up to level 4. Very nice. Oh, I didn't do automated irrigation for tea plantations. Oh, I think I didn't have tea plantations. Centrifugal machines, absolutely. Give me more sugar. Shove that sugar in my mouth. Automatic irrigation for rubber. Don't mind if I do. Do not mind if I do. Alright, so that should be just fine. A lot of my agriculture is unprofitable, but, you know, what else is new? Alright, we are making good progress here. We are winning our fight. We have 25% occupation of Eritrea, so that's good. Coalition coupons. Okay, so we're in an election. Socialist Party of America has got 5% momentum. Democratic and Republican have 28% and 40% respectively. So even with a disadvantage in momentum, the Socialists have a projected vote count of 66%. So I think we're going to stay with them for the time being. Coalition coupons. The United States of America versus Egypt war going well. The country is swept up in a frenzy of war. The sitting Socialist Party of America has issued letters of endorsement to parliamentary candidates they feel support the war effort, drawing patriotic voters towards their cause. You didn't get the letter, huh? Go figure that coward, some spineless, good-for-nothing pacifist. Our boys are out there dying, and what does he do? Sits around shuffling stacks of paper, waiting for the opportune moment to squander the gains we paid for in blood. Now our men need somebody to fight for them as they fight for us. Rally around the party, I mean the flag, for 20% extra momentum for the Socialist Party of America, or are you for us or for our adversaries? Increased government interest group approval reduced government interest group approval +2, opposition interest group approval -2. I don't like this one, so I'm just going to go with the first one. Extra momentum is just fine. I find it's the parties who are out of government that I have the hardest time keeping happy. Alright, so iron mines are still in the process of being built. Nearly done. We can decrease the autonomy of a lot of... Oh, insufficient crew. Oh, I need to concern myself with this. Alright. Let's build some naval administration. Let's see. We'll go with 2 levels in California, 2 levels in Oregon, 2 levels in Washington. We'll go with... Actually, we'll go up to 5 in those same areas. We'll go up to 10 in California. It's not because I clicked too many in, it's just because It's for reasonable, strategic reasons, and not because I clicked too much. Definitely, anyone who says it's because I clicked too much is slandering me. It's slander. Slander, I say. Unless it's printed, in which case it's liable. Alright. How's the war going? Alright, we are winning our battles. Socialist internationalism. The Socialist Party of America is receiving election campaign support from the communist trade unions in Austria. So comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. Austrian socialists are welcome here. Extra 30% more momentum. For the Socialist Party of America, the communist ideology would be more likely to appear in our country. Or try to limit foreign influence, 10% momentum. No increase to communism. I'm just going to go with the second one. I just want... Let's keep the... We're where we want to be right now. I'm happy with where we are. I'm happy with where we are. Australianese National Awakening. Very cool. Things are still good with Canada. So the reason I'm being a little bit ham-fisted with Canada here is because Hey, go west, young man. What does this achievement do? I went to pause the game and it disappeared. Never mind, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll look at it after. The defender of decency. Jeune Ecole has fallen to a revolution amongst the trade unions. In the campaign materials of the Democratic Party, Susan B. Anthony has immediately denounced the trade unions here, preempting a similar revolt. You would name me a traitor? I'm certain you are. Many abroad in Jeune Ecole would already think similarly to you. What's to say you're not a traitor already, plotting sedition with the members of your book club? You've gone mad. Someone must stand against the revolutionary tide. Trade unions very unhappy, -3, 30% momentum to the Democratic Party. Or Jeune Ecole is far away and this is here. Petite bourgeoisie, weaker and angrier, 10% momentum subtracted from the Democrats. I'm going to go with that second one. I don't want to piss off my trade unions. I suppose I could. Solidarity still provides workforce ratio, which I don't think is necessarily that good at this point in the game. No, I could do a naval invasion, but honestly, I think I can press across land without too much of a problem here. So I think I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. Let's talk about this treaty. You're still mostly okay with it as it is. Alright, well, that's fine. Oh yeah, our defensive pact to exchange for art. Oh, that's very funny. That's very funny. Quick look at our market. We're importing a lot of things. We're importing a lot of clothes. Look at this. Unbelievable. We should be producing our own clothes. I increased the import tariff for clothes. Supporters of the Democratic Party have gone beyond simply campaigning for their own party, harassing and sometimes physically attacking opposing partisans. I'm a simple party man, that's all. I know who I like and I know who I don't like. And I know I want my people to win and their people to lose. Crackdown on Democratic Party activities, -10% momentum for the Democrats. Or let the Democratic Party partisans continue unmolested. Weaker and angrier trade unions. Gonna go with that first one. We're keeping the trade unions strong and we're keeping a legitimate government in control of the country. Gosh, I really need to increase my level of textile output. Wow. We're also importing frickin' luxury clothes. This is ridiculous. Why can't my textile mills not compete? No, they compete. Wild. Ah, the Egyptian Spinning and Weaving Company. Cool. I'm tempted to build more, but it's also... Let's build a textile industry in California. Actually, we'll build it in Washington because we got a lot of labor available in Washington. A petite bourgeoisie liberal appears. Arthur Cobb. A bigoted political operator. Interesting. War is progressing well. The enemy still has war support protection, but so do I. We're progressing towards the capitals. I suppose I could have done a naval landing, but I don't think that would necessarily have been right at all. And there's our election. So we have our free reform if we want to. But nothing is going to give us more legitimacy than we've got, which is 100. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. We'll stay where we are. Laws-wise, doing just fine. Interesting. So Spain is going after the Sardinia Piedmont once again, and the Ottoman Empire sided with them. I could do for a war goal, but that would put me at war with Britain once again, and I don't necessarily wish to do that. Oh my goodness, the Germans are fighting the Austrians and assorted others. Let me see, the Germans and the British. Oh, the Germans got an alliance with the British. Those absolute wily SOBs. Alright. Cool and interesting. Okay, I still have a much stronger navy than Britain. In fact, I think I've got the strongest navy around at this point. What about Japan? Japan barely has a navy. Alright. Can-do attitude. Soldiers are complaining that they have no way to open their canned food. Sure, the food's a bit better, but what's the point if we can't get at it, eh? Some lads use rocks, others knives. The only reliable thing is how bloody annoying it is to eat. Spend some money to develop a way, 25k for 5 years, or they'll figure it out, -2 approval from the armed forces. Sorry, armed forces, figure it out. I know. Not exactly presidential behavior, but... Yeoman farmers being headed up by a corporatist. What does that mean? It means they're going to leave the socialists during the next go-round. Evangelicals are going to sign in with the Democratic Party. Okay, so probably the Socialist Party is going to be out of power unless there's some weird changes next pass-through. We'll see what becomes of that. All right, we're on our way to the Egyptian capital. Egypt. How would you like to just close this thing? No? Alright. You're adults. You can do as you like. Just trying to get Sinai and that sweet tax revenue. Sardinia Piedmont backs down. Interesting. A little bit of a curious decision just on account of, like, they would be locking Britain into two different wars at once. Oh, I guess Germany's war was ended. All right, so that makes sense then. All right, forced conversion is very good. Unfortunately, we're devastating a lot of the territory we would like to take, or at least some of it. But that is what it is. Can't be avoided. It seems Ethiopia's radical revolt really is not going anywhere. I don't rightly know what to make of that. But that's okay. Alright, next targets are Harar, and then we're going to swing down the coast. Actually, we'll probably swing down the coast first, because I can take Harar whenever I want. And once we've got Eritrea united, that'll be great. I've actually built all the ships that I wish to build at this time. But I'm almost done with the pre-dreadnought tech, so we'll wait to that, and then we'll build ourselves a new setup. Speaking of which, though... Oh, we're still having naval administration shortages. Alright, well that's fine. Let's go ahead and build... Let's really stack up some naval administration. We'll do... We'll increase all these places in the Old South that are at 3 to be at 5. Any other spots with an uneven number? Probably a few in Africa, right? No. Perhaps Guyana or Panama? No. Curious. New Mexico. Alright, easy. And then we'll stack up 5 more levels in Texas. And we'll throw 25 more levels in Wisconsin. And that should be more than enough to get us rolling forward as we go into the higher tier ships that will be available once we got the pre-dreadnought researched. Oil in Aromia, very nice. Feeling very pleased about that. War sport's looking good. How many? We've taken 14k dead, 55k wounded. Not ideal. How's the opium market? Opium prices are holding steady. We're importing a lot, but let's actually move tariff back to 0 for that. Tea. If we have our own tea production, I should set a tariff. So where do we have tea plants rolling? Gondar, Hawaii. Okay, a lot of places. All right. Let's tariff tea. Buy American for all your tea needs. I think what this is pointing to is I need more construction sectors, unbelievably. Which, of course, is going to cost us more money, but that is what it is. All right, pre-dreadnought is designed. So now, these ships should get where they're going as we fill up our naval administration. So I shouldn't need to worry about that, right? I shouldn't need to worry about that. All right, we're almost at the capital. We have partial occupation of the capital. I think once we're above 50%, they'll lose their war sport protection. That seems to be the way things go. If we can fight a battle there, that is. I was trying to look at Dongola, and now I don't know what's happening. That was probably nothing, right? It's probably nothing. Alright, well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Alright, and these ships are sorting them out. Yes, thank you to whoever in the comments, I'm not looking at them right now, pointed out that the reason these ships were being set up by themselves was because they were uncrewed. That was a good call on your part, and I appreciate it. So from here, there's oil in Ohio. Wonderful. What we're going to do is we're going to start retiring old ships. Iron frigates I was still building until earlier this year, so those are reasonable to keep around. But we have some old ships that are not sensible anymore. These ships of the line, they gotta go. Where are they? They're this one. So the three-pillar design with the lanterne sail in front. That's the one. All right. USS Alabama. Decommission. Wait, hold on. There's a smarter way to do this. Hold on. Just the ships of the line. Can I decommission all? I remember there being a decommission all button, but now I don't remember what it was. Well, anyway. Time to go. Sorry, I haven't gotten as good at this yet, so it's very slow. Alright. And then I've got 25 frigates. Build new. Oh, it's the checkbox here. I get it. Select all, decommission. Beautiful. All right. Perfect. All right. So. Cool. Huh. Swap between 5 and 1. Not sure what to make of that, but that's okay. Alright, let's build us... Can't build. Because I need to survey the place first. Alright, that's okay. We'll survey the Suez Isthmus. That's going to put me at a shortage of bureaucracy. I'm already at level 5, so I just need to build a little bit more government to cover that shortfall. So let's hit the button that crashes the game. I got a lot of places where I need more taxation capacity. Gondar can probably wait. Nah, it's reasonable. I'll build the levels in Gondar. Washington, we need 4 levels. Nebraska 2, North Dakota 2, Montana 2, South Dakota. We'll do 2 in South Dakota, and 1 each in Iowa and Texas, and that'll be fine. Do I want to get these built before the textile mills? I think yes. Alright, so now we'll rename this army the Suez Canal Force. Ooh, Adna Chaffee. Let's put you in charge over here. Don't need any conscripts for this. We will simply add... Oh my! Oh, Sinai does not have a port. One's being built right now. How long is it going to take? Government queue, private queue. Port in Sinai. It's going to take a long time. I'm going to build my own. 38 weeks. And that'll allow us to do what we need to do. And that will be just fine. So, do I have the ability to get... Oh, my Marine Corps needs a leader. Let's see. Henry Barber, wrathful, experienced defensive strategist, mountain combat expert. He seems good. But tell you what, I'm actually going to put Adna Chaffee in over here. We'll put the Suez Canal Force. Oh, you guys are down here. All right. Well, you're not going to be a Suez Canal Force. Army of Africa, where are you at? You're at the Suez Canal. Can you get down to here? You cannot. Okay, because there's no port here. All right, well, that's going to put a little bit of a damper on our plans, but that's okay. Or no, wait, they're coming. They're coming. So where are they going to? All right, beautiful. So they're going the right way. All right, so we'll transfer the Marine Corps after that, and that'll be good to go. And then we can do everything we want to do. So, from here, what about Brazil? Relations with Brazil are cordial, but they could be better. How would you like to give me investment rights? Not enough interest. Alright. Right, I was going to do ship stuff. I keep forgetting to do ship stuff. So... the Pacific Fleet's been fixed up. I still have old school type ships in here. Cruisers. I still have frigates in here. Decommission those. Alright, now, so we're at 4 and 4 and 4 for this fleet. That makes sense to me. I think just to get power projection up, we'll build some torpedo craft. This pattern of torpedo craft have served me just fine. We'll build 16 to start with. Next, we need some proper cruisers. We have the armored cruiser template, so let's create ourselves one of those. Double the hit points, double the armor. I feel it's definitely worth the steal. Speed. I don't think we're too hard up for speed. Supply will definitely go for increased stowage. We get one modification in here. Let's do reduced separate critical chance. I think that's reasonable. Torpedo nets just add a fabric input, which is very, very reasonable for what I want to do. Yeah. Okay, that's a template. So, let's go ahead and add... let's go ahead and add 6 armored cruisers here. We'll go ahead and add 11 to bring us up to 15. And then for capital ships, we have the pre-dreadnought finally. So, are we going to go with extra armor at a cost of extra steel? No, we are. Speed... actually, that's the same as the armored cruiser, so we're probably good with that. Extra stowage, yeah, you know I gotta go for that. Increased supply efficiency is bananas good. We get 2 modifications in here. I'm gonna go with torpedo nets for this one as well. And for our other one... ooh, camouflage. That's pretty good. We'll go with camouflage. Template, and then we'll build 6 of these. Now, in terms of the queue, let's throw 3 of the pre-dreadnoughts in at the top, and we'll start the other 3 once the torpedo boats are finished. And then, we're going to add a few more ships to the Atlantic Fleet as well. Now, the Atlantic Fleet still has some early ironclads. We've got a lot of iron frigates and torpedo ships. Pretty high vulnerability here. So that tells me we need more screening craft. Let's go ahead and build 30 armored cruisers and 30 torpedo craft, and that should provide what we need. After that, we'll build 10 pre-dreadnoughts and see where we are. Alright. Pacific Fleet's looking good. Still at a shortage of naval admin, huh? Dang. Alright. Take a look at the government queue. Still building up all these government sectors. Yeah, I guess the actual answer to this is I need to go way more buck wild on naval admin than I thought. We'll build up to 30 levels in Washington, 30 levels in California, 30 levels in New York, 30 levels in Pennsylvania. And that should be more than enough. I really do want to halt government construction in the short term, but I need to pay attention to other stuff. In particular, I need to get the troop transfer fleet going where it needs to go. And picking up the Marine Corps before they decide to sail home. Steam for home. Hey, it's paused. You can't go back to the United States. It's paused. Stop it. Stop it. No! 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 You won't be home by Christmas! You won't be home by Christmas, gosh darn it! Stop it! Stop it! they're AWOL! They're AWOL! Oh, man. Oh, that's one of my favorite things. That's just a bug. That's just the game figuring out where it needs to go. That's my read on what's going on there. Alright, so, Marine Corps. Station here, take the troop transfer fleet. Alright, I got an event supporting the Ottoman workers. We will support the workers in the Ottoman Empire, boosting the power of their trade unions. Maybe we believe in the international cause of the working man, maybe we don't. In the end, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the Ottoman trade unions get stronger. An excellent idea. Stronger trade unions, or this would be ill-advised. Weaker trade unions. An excellent idea. Lovely. Let's see where we are in the ledger. Let's see where we are in the ledger. We're still kind of neck and neck with the British. Which tells me that ideally, an expansion of military forces might get me over the line here. Actually, let's not. Let's wait. Let's be chill. Take a quick look at tech. We're still getting an overflow from unspent innovation. I do want to support continued research improvements, however. Let's build some universities in Africa. Oh, I need to unify production methods. Eritrea. Silently. And I think it would be good to have universities in the rest of my states. So let's go ahead and do that. I think there are a bunch that still don't have any. Ooh, new mandate. Wonderful. Those are going at a good clip. Power generation. Excellent. Alright, so that's a level 1 university in each state in the continental states. Maybe 2 in Alaska as well. We've already got one in Alaska. Beautiful. So power generation. Do I want to do that right away? I don't think so. I don't think so yet. Let's go to mechanized looms. Yeah, that's definitely more productive. Water tube boiler for furniture manufacturers? Yes. Very good. Alright. So now, quick tech check. Yeah, we're going through production level 2. Now, I would like to get corporate governance, because that'll let us get our other canal company, and that'll be nice. I'd also like to get multilateral alliances. ID documents would let me get some extra home affairs, which would be nice. But I think I'm good where we are for now. Yeah, so Britain's up over us on stuff. Let's take a quick run at the laws. Population growth continues to be rock solid. So I'm not hard up for population growth. What if we went to... So this is weaker trade unions. This will be stronger trade unions. Reduce radicals from political movements, stronger labor movements, support pop attraction. But, oh, interesting. The yeoman farmers are against this because they've got a corporatist in charge. Interesting. And I can't go to factory councils because I'm not... United States is revolutionary. I don't rightly know what that means. Maybe this one's only available by event. Oh, this is your syndicalism maxing. All right, well, I think I'm going to leave the laws alone for now. Japan improving relations, you'll love to see it. Delighted with that. How's Hawaii doing? They're good. They've got... Not causing a problem for my power block, are they? Not really. Sounds good. vote. Please do voting, Hawaii. You know it's my favorite thing. Socialist movement. What do you want? Hey, they're enacting. Lovely. You would like a more progressive taxation system. You would like welfare, or you would like the right to associate. The problem is our yeoman farmers are so strong right now that I can't negotiate with them effectively. So they're going to stop me up going to right to associate. Anyway, I'm happy with where the laws are at present, and we'll see how things go later on. I am once again continuing to spend at a ludicrous rate. I'm paying so much in interest right now, this is bananas. I think I need to... Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. New neighbors, new grudges. A minority group of Danish people has recently settled in the state of Utah, seeking a better future. However, the local Yankee elites are stirring up resentment, claiming the Danish newcomers will destroy the traditional way of life. They don't belong here. Our Yankee customs, our way of life. They'll be lost if we let the Danes settle. I know it doesn't say Dane, but that's what should be in there. The words, spoken by a prominent landowner, echoed through a Salt Lake City tavern. The next day, they spread through the market, and on the next they were on the lips of the town hall secretaries. As the newcomers filed through the streets, they were met with closed doors and hostile stares. The Danish people must accept their lot. 20% of Yankee and Afro-American upper-stardom pops become more loyalist. 25% of Danish pops become more radical. Acceptance of Danish pops is reduced by -5. We must foster harmony between the peoples, whether Danish or Yankee. 5% of pops in Utah become more radical. Even chance that acceptance of Danish pops will be increased by 15 or decreased by 5. And... well, 25% chance of each of those, and then 50% chance that their acceptance will go up by 5. So it'll on balance, their acceptance goes up. Or the old Yankee ways cannot continue to dominate our modern nation. 20% of Yankee upper stardom pops and Afro-American upper stardom pops in Utah become more radical. Acceptance of Danish pops in Utah is improved by 20. I'm going to say the Danish people must accept their lot, and this is simply because acceptance will go up over time. So, are my armies where they need to be? Yes. Let's go after Warsangali, shall we? Anyone going to step in that I care about? Not really. Let's do this. I'm going to send the army of Africa to it. Oh wow, construction's going really slow in Sinai. Let's build... Gosh dang it, I really need these things to get rolling. Rubber rush. Excellent. Panama, rubber has been successfully grown in Panama. The fragile nature of these trees and their difficult-to-meet conditions make this achievement exceptionally important. The Amazonian rubber monopoly is finally over. Those beautiful trees have decided to grow elsewhere after multiple unsuccessful attempts. Those stubborn little things, and now it is our duty to end those greedy tycoons' empires. Bring everyone to Panama and get to work. 10% increased state construction efficiency. That's pretty cool. 75% migration attraction, 20% rubber plantations throughput. A reason for our existing rubber plantations to work harder. Guyana gets increased migration attraction. Increased rubber industry employee mortality. Increased rubber plantations throughput. Interesting. Let rubber always drive new growth, which is the first option, but always. We're always concentrated on existing plantations, the second option, but always. I don't want to get extra mortality, so we'll just let rubber always drive new growth. I don't want to be hitting that event multiple times as time goes by here. Alright, we're almost done with the textile mills. We'll get the naval admin built up, and then we'll give it a rest. I do need to keep the ship manufacturing industry firing on all cylinders because I need to get my ships built up after I decommissioned a bunch of my fleets built up after I decommissioned a bunch of my old ships. So I am going to continue to spend money on that, but at the end of this round of of naval admin expansion, I am going to finally stop building, and we'll see how the cash flow looks. Could increase taxes, but that's going to be tough on. It's gonna be tough on my radical to loyalist ratio, which is still pretty weak at this time. Oil in Guyana, nice. I could get way more money if I go to graduated taxation. When's the next election? My investment pool's still working, though. Like, I haven't hit the point where more investment has been useless, so I think I'm going to leave it. I think I'm going to leave it for now. I should take the hedge. I should make the hedge a protectorate. Everything's looking good in Eritrea right now. Good. We're earning a good, healthy export economy. Importing a lot of wine. Obviously, my industrialists are building just as much as they like. They're building quite a bit in the United States, but they're also building elsewhere. Elsewhere in my market, but also elsewhere in the world. They put in claim cyanide. Well, gosh dang it. You goobers. Stop that. Did I finish the Suez survey? What's going on over there? And there's where Sangali finished. Oh, I just forgot to pin it. Alright, so we're most of the way there. Try me, Britain. That's probably dumb. It's probably a bad time to do this, since I'm building all this other stuff and trying to save myself some money. But eventually I will fortify the area. Britain just keeps accruing more infamy. Although I suppose I do too. Speaking of which, let's go up to Majortine. Oil and Aromia, very nice. How's the corporation going for these areas? Still plugging away at a decent rate. Do I still have a treaty with Ethiopia? A truce with Ethiopia? Doesn't look like it. So I could go after Ethiopia again. Okay. Looks like our fleets are basically adequately staffed. Transfer fleet needs a promotion for their leader. Ooh, oil in Arkansas. Very cool. Gold depleted in Colorado. Interesting. So that gets our gold fields depleted event. The rich mineral deposits in Colorado have been drained. Mines are being shuttered, and all the prospectors who moved in are beginning to drift away in search of the next big strike. Alluvial gold dried up, miners go home. River dried up due to miner activity. Shafts condemned as threat to life. Enter at own peril. Trespassers will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. Unfortunate. Reduced migration attraction there. We can't just let them leave. 20% of laborers become more radical. And then I can pick the same thing for the others. I'm just going to say unfortunate. I don't want to goof up the place too bad. But that does mean more gold mines, which I should build out. It's only 2 levels. It's only 2 levels. It's only 2 levels. The private sector can do it. The private sector can do it. I really need to get back to relying on my private sector for most of my construction needs. Little by little, the rubber barons, local authorities, and elements of the evangelicals are divided in how best to shape the Amazonian peoples of American Guyana. Every argument, however, is rooted in self-interest. So we've seen this event before. I'm just going to say we shall make Americans of them yet. I'll read you. It was last episode, so I'll read the flavor text one more time. Both her husband and her son's hands were struck red. Priests and nuns had brought canes upon the boy for dancing in the halls and reciting the old stories. The patrons and forcers believed the man had adulterated the rubber he tapped. If the men of the lash did not work them to death, she thought the men of the single god would drive their souls to death. My options are education as a distraction. Their hands are for labor, not writing. Extra radicalism for discriminated pops. 5% increased rubber plantations throughput. Evangelicals unhappy. Or we shall make Americans of them yet. 2% education access. 5% more assimilation. Less radicalism, but still it's less than the other option, but it's still an increase overall. And -1 opinion from the Southern planters. You know, I'm going to say we shall make Americans of them yet. That's what I always do. Quick check on our fleets. Our Pacific fleet still needs to be staffed. I still think that's worth it. Port and Sinai is still taking forever to build. I am going to build trade centers here, at least one. In fact, I'm going to leave it for the time being. I'm spending a lot on ship construction right now. This 70,000 number, not right. Suez complete. Let's build that canal. Oh my god, 2,170 weeks. Why must you be so painful to me? Alright, I gotta get a trade center in here. Suez Isthmus surveyed. Our survey of the Suez Isthmus is complete. We've confirmed that it would be possible to construct a canal linking the Mediterranean to the Red Sea. There's been a long-held belief that the water levels on either side of the Suez Isthmus differ greatly. We've now proven that that is not the case. We will build the canal. So yeah, we got a canal. Or we're gonna have a canal. So we're almost done conquering Somaliland. That'll be nice. I should actually reset construction methods. Oil and Bolivar, very nice. I'll reset construction methods after the war, or production methods after the war, and then I'll do it again after the next war with Galetti. I'm so thirsty. Yeah, we got more ships coming into the Oceanic Fleet, which is mostly finished at this stage. This number is making me really nervous. Oil discovered in Zulia. Oil rush subsides. With the groundwork of the Pennsylvania oil industry complete, its appeal and promise is waning among those seeking to carve out their own fortune. The nature of these operations is that eventually a few people will hold all the cards. The industry lives on, but our hands are played. We are not among the few. But oil will last forever. You can force on the oil rush for a penalty to migration traction, increased oil industry mortality, increased oil industry employee standard of living, 50% increase to oil industry employees, and an additional 20% bonus to oil extractors' throughput. I'm not going to do that. On the other hand, we can shuffle the expertise into manufacturing for a 10% manufacturing industry's throughput bonus for 10 years. I'm definitely going to do that. Pennsylvania is a big manufacturing state. Get us going here. I'm also, if you can't hear it, transferring water into my water bottle. And that is the war with Majourtine complete. The Veiled Protectorate. Our influence in Egypt has grown considerably, yet our power in the region is dependent on our relations with that unrecognized state. By establishing a dominion over the country, our domination would be assured. We'll time out in 8 years and 4 months. We'll fail if at least one of these. Egypt is not a subject of the United States. Egypt is not an unrecognized country. Well. What an interesting situation. Cool. Before I forget, so better production methods than Somaliland. Wait, we do want our furniture manufactories on water tube boiler, don't we? Yes, we do. That makes them more profitable, yes. What are tooling workshops? Are they more profitable? No, they're not. They just think they will be. Alright, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. What if we go to rotary valve engine? Okay, that's better. That's better. They're doing better. Okay. What about paper mills? Can they go to water tube boiler? Yes, they're better under water tube. Oh, maybe they're not. Let's let a week go by and see. Yeah, they're better. They're better on water tube boiler. Beautiful. Tooling workshops? No, we already checked them. They don't want to be there. Motor industries? We'll figure that out. Where are we in tech? Reinforced concrete? Very good. That's right. I'm knocking out the rest of the production because I haven't been focusing on production much, and it's 1887, so I really need to get going with that. Let's go ahead and conquer Galeti. Once again, nobody will step in that I'm concerned about. Once again, send the Army of Africa to sort the situation. The Majeerteen army can be closed out. Now I've got 18 infamy, and from here I can kind of cool it because I think grabbing Blue Nile and Kordofan might be good plans, so that I can get this way, and then I can get my protectorate over Egypt, and that'll be fun. But I'm going to accrue a lot of infamy when I do that. My economy has roughly doubled in size since the last time I looked at it at the end of the last session. There's reinforced concrete. Wonderful. Excellent. Relations with Great Britain remain bad. France, still looking good. I've got a lot of rivals. I'm building very slowly, actually, in Africa. Ugh. This is looking really bad. Do I sacrifice the frickin'... Nah, I gotta keep that authority. I gotta keep that authority. Could drop government wages. No, this would barely affect things. Still building new ships for the Oceanic Fleet. I'm spending about 676k in construction goods. So what I could do is I could stop building completely for a while. Tell you what I'll do. I'll put the universities in Africa at the bottom of the queue because these other ones will get built a lot faster. The port in Sinai is almost done. The trade center in Sinai is almost done. And those should get Sinai situated much better. There's our war in Galeti finishing out. On the other hand, I really do want to take over Ethiopia. But that would be another big hit of infamy. So I'll leave it for now. Hungary is good. Good with Hungary, good with Austria. Austria's got some infamy, which is interesting. We still don't have an Italy forming, I'm guessing because Britain's holding Tuscany and Lucca. But what else is new? Constantine have a British protectorate? They are. Perfidious Albion, stealing everything that isn't nailed down, just like I'm doing. How dare they do the same thing I'm doing? Climb down this rock like I'm doing. Oh. And there's the war. Perfect. Rubber boom. The recent expansion of rubber plantations in Panama has yielded extremely promising results. The United States of America threatens to lead the world in rubber production. The question is not what can be done with rubber, whether what cannot be done, but rather what cannot be done. There is no end to its potential utilization, and it will surely become the foundational material of the modern world. Our finest minds are developing new applications for this versatile material. Extra migration traction and rubber plantations building throughput in Panama. Oh my goodness, I'm making all sorts of mouth noises. Alright, so Sinai is now connected to our situation. They need livestock ranches. Trade center will be built in 5 weeks. Border crossing. Our soldiers regularly perform maneuvers near the border of the Netherlands. Having our troops parade all over the border as if it were nothing to them could be a useful display of power, especially if we frame it as an accident. A border is just a line drawn on a map. If it isn't guarded or defended, why should an enterprising nation not come along and tweak those borders? An excellent idea. One of the following will happen: will result in a diplomatic incident in Western Europe, giving 13 infamy to the United States and reducing their relations with 22 countries. Or the Netherlands gets border sovereignty questioned, reduce prestige, and increase morale loss. Or this would be ill-advised, armed forces unhappy. I'm going to go with the second one. I don't particularly care for this. I'm trying to get my infamy down, for one thing. William Cramp and Sons is losing prosperity. That's not ideal. I'm not super pleased with that. The Oceanic Fleet needs a promotion for their leader. New mandate available. Excellent. I think I ignored the last one. Because I'm so smart and good at video games. So I could buff out creative legislature. Let's go ahead and do that. That's going to make movements easier to handle, and that's going to be good. And then I got one more slot available, and I'm going to do the naval one. Accidental good press for the Ottoman Empire. Private correspondence exchanged by members of the Anti-Ottoman Association have been published in pamphlets. The letters praise the Ottoman Empire, contrary to the intentions of the intelligentsia. Frustration brews at the gathering of all the Anti-Ottoman Association members. Many are quick to blame the intelligentsia for this mishap, with a series of pamphlets distributed without their sanction. One member challenges the fervor of the group. Yes, this is not what we intended. This was not our intention. But is this not one minor setback in our grand undertaking? Good press for the Ottoman Empire is harmless and improves relations with the Ottomans. Appeasement of the Anti-Ottoman Association goes down. Or, the intelligentsia should pull any remaining pamphlets. 5% of intelligentsia member pops become more loyalist. Gonna go with that second one. I love free loyalists. That didn't end up being as many pops as I was hoping, but that's okay. So, Trade Center is done. So that should take a minute to get employed, but once they're fully employed, that should be much better. Persia, let's be friends. So, Sinai turmoil is going down, starvation is going down. I'm not going to incorporate. Now, I should be able to build barracks here now. So, we'll create ourselves... Actually... Cool. We'll create an army of Sinai. Our Suez Canal Army. Our Suez Canal Force, we'll call it. We'll recruit a general. Let's do... Let's do Dickey. And we'll just do 3 infantry and 2 artillery. That should be more than fine. We'll set our mobilization options. Is there any... Okay, so there's plenty of unemployed population in Sinai. So let's go ahead and subsidize the buildings here. The railway is already subsidized. The port needs to be subsidized. And the livestock ranch needs to be subsidized when it comes out. And that should be just fine. I don't particularly need these lead mines or these iron mines to be subsidized. They'll be fine. I just need there to be some kind of food production here. I'll throw a fishing wharf in as well. So we'll have ranching and we'll have fishing. Alright, we're through all the universities in the continental United States. We're now working on the ones in Africa. I'm going to put the fishing wharves ahead of the other stuff. I don't need the armed forces buildings too fast, although they will build faster. All these ones in Africa look like they're going much faster now, so that should be just fine. Not too concerned with that. So that should be good. And then finally, we'll stop increasing our national debt, which is huge. Our national debt is through the roof, actually, to be completely honest. And a lot of it's down to ship construction, but a lot of it's down to government construction as well. I think I may have built out too much construction capacity, but I've got so many markets to build in, it's bananas. Let's take a look at the elections. Interesting. All right, so political situation. The trade unions have... the yeoman farmers have left the trade unions. The evangelicals have gone to the Democratic Party. So that means the Democratic Party is well ahead. Now, they do have extra momentum compared to the Socialist Party of America, but that's all right. The Republican Party is dead last with 9%. They still consist only of the industrialists and the intelligentsia. So I think we're going to swing back to the Democrats, and we're going to see what comes of that. Partisan papers. Party-affiliated newspapers have been proliferating during the election season. Publications associated with the Republican Party have been particularly effective at spreading the party line. Read all about it. Honest politicians attacked by shameless cowards. Leading candidate for office issues heartwarming appeal to the common man's heart. Man on campaign trail pets a puppy. Read all about it. The Republican Party has used the papers brilliantly. Extra momentum for the Republicans. Our newspaper circulation is through the roof. This is a boom for publishers. Extra paper mills throughput. Let's get that paper mills throughput. I don't want the Republicans to have extra momentum. Thank you very much. Alright, universities are getting built. Fishing wharves are getting built. Still have a starvation problem, still have a turmoil problem. Let's go ahead and build up more taxation, more trade capacity. I think I want 5 levels of trade sectors here. That will let any importation necessary be completed within a relatively short timeline. The levies. Susan B. Anthony has made overtures to the yeoman farmers for electoral support for the Democratic Party. Ebenezer Nagley has at least acknowledged the talks. Ebenezer Nagley. I want that guy leading the country. President Nagley. Appeals for natural allies makes for a gamble on long odds. Receptive ears to natural allies are often already of like mind. Those who aren't of like mind would politely continue on their own way. Impolitely, they might laugh, scoff, or if they're truly devious, turn the gambler into their own useful idiot. Old minds think alike. Extra momentum for the Democratic Party. Our grass tends to grow as it pleases. Half as much momentum bonus to the Democratic Party. Increased political strength of aristocrats and farmers. I'm going to go with the first one. We'll throw them some extra momentum. That's going to increase their overall share of the vote. If I were truly devious, I would try to nail a change to the strike laws while the yeoman farmers are out of the electoral politics, but I don't want to do that. We're just going to chill right now. Maybe the answer is I form Uh-oh. They're conquering. They're conquering. That's okay. This is okay with me. I'm actually going to improve relations with Egypt because I want to take them as a protectorate, and having good relations with them will be good for that long term. 4 years until Somalia is granted statehood. Kindly burn this letter. Chester Alford, a prominent member of the Democratic Party, has been accused of gross corruption. He strenuously denied all allegations until damning letters surfaced signed by him. Yes, I'm willing to discuss the contents of these letters with the committee, if only I'm able to, given time to study the content of the letters in my personal chambers first. Of course, on my honor, I will not alter or destroy any of the evidence. Honest. Democratic Party should stand by Chester Alford and deny everything, reduce momentum for them. Or Chester Alford should be isolated to protect the rest of the party. He loses some popularity. I'm going to pick the second one, because I want to keep the Democratic momentum up, because they've got a large share of the vote. And we'll see how that changes as time goes by here. Alright, everything else is a build-up of the universities in Africa and the construction of the various infrastructure needed for the Suez Canal to be built in a reasonable timeline. We're still suffering from a significant shortage of everything here, but, we're doing okay. We're doing okay overall. We've got a lot of turmoil, but it's going down. Starvation is going down, and as soon as we get more trade centers built, things will be doing well. Still plenty of unemployed and peasant populations. Ooh, vacuum canning. That's something I have desperately needed. Huzzah! You just think you're not productive. You're so productive. You're crazy productive. Still bringing in a lot of silk. Don't really have a way of solving that problem right now. But that's okay. That's quite okay. Zadok is our new president. Zadok Peck. Lovely. Interestingly, the highest legitimacy government I could have is the Democrats and the Socialists together. Let's do it and see what opportunities this provides us with. Let's go to proportional taxation. No, I want to hold out for graduated, because graduated is just a giant increase. Could go to commercialized agriculture. The trade unions actually would not care about that. Who would be against? The yeoman farmers, but they're pretty uninvolved in politics at present. Let's commercialize agriculture. Let's do it. Fun times to be had by all. I'm at over 100 million in government debt now. Normal Tuesday night in the United States. Lots of people are happy about this. Yeoman farmers have fallen out of politics. A donation of knowledge. Alan Key has offered to spend some of their personal wealth to fund the creation of a university in Columbia. In D.C., the District of Columbia. Those will likely give the industrialists some influence. The Alan Key University will be a proud bastion of learning in these times of rapid progress, where knowledge truly is power. A wonderful idea. Industrialists get slightly stronger at a free university, or no, we can't give them a platform. They get mad. I'm going to go with the first one. I think that's just sensible. There are various people I can negotiate with, but I'm not going to do that. 7% success chance, I think I have more than enough ability to do that. Power Bloc, we're about halfway to our fourth thing here. I could get Witu into my my Power Bloc. Not that that would really help. How long has this Omani slaver revolt been going on? Probably a long time. Oil in Missouri. Nice. Alright, so the rest of the trade sectors have been built. Alright, and now Sinai is building much faster. Beautiful. Alright, we finally fixed things up over here. We have a significant decrease to the starvation. We have a significant reduction in turmoil. Everything's coming up American Sinai. I think I'm actually going to put more resources into military ships because I think, truthfully, I want to get my my military ships finished out because I think that's part of what's costing the government so much money. Oh wow, that's a surprise. Oh, that's because our regular construction is going down. Rousing speech captivates the public. This afternoon, Alan Key, leader of the industrialists, delivered a fiery speech advocating for the enactment of commercialized agriculture. Making an appearance before the public in Washington's main square, Alan Key's powerful rhetoric left even his most embittered political opponents impressed. Excerpts from the speech are already being circulated across the United States of America, fanning the fires of an already roaring debate. This should ease the path to reform greatly, increase enactment success chance, or performances like these reflect well on Alan Key and his cause. 10% enactment success chance, but Alan Key gets 25 popularity and the industrialists get 5% stronger. I'm just going to go with the first one. I think enactment success chance is just fine. Hurrah is in the midst of a liberal revolt. That's fine with me. Hey, Persia. How about a Power Bloc embassy? How about a Power Bloc embassy for an embassy? Could I get investment rights? No, because I'm not involved enough. What's my current involvement in the Sinai, in the Nile Basin? It's at this much. 1,500 from ownership and claims. All right, so we're not gonna fall back below engaged. So we'll take our oceanic fleet and we'll send them to project power over to here in the Arabian Sea, and that should give us engagement in Persia. Yeah, Greater Persia, definitely adjacent. Beautiful. And now we'll keep an eye on the Nile Basin. It's going down, okay. To 2361. Which is in the engaged zone, which is fine. That's fine. That's fine. We're good to go. We're good to go with that. Alright. Cash flow's looking good. Still building a ton of ships. Let's throw these pre-dreadnoughts at the top of the queue. Oop, that's not the button I wanted. Let's throw these pre-dreadnoughts at the top of the queue. So that we can get rolling on them and get them building sooner. Because the sooner we can be done with the ship construction queue, the better, in my humble opinion. In fact, if we cut supply ship construction a bit... No, we'll fiddle with that later. French Republic is in a war. Alright, Egypt's in their war with Britain, and that should be fine. That should be finishing out soon. Oil discovered in Montana, lovely. British are still rivaling me, I believe. Law progressed to study, very nice. Angosh colonized Mozambique. Interesting. Oh my goodness, Burundi has started a large colonization effort. Let's be better friends, Burundi. We'll be neighbors soon enough. Alright. Korea is having a modernist revolt. Great Britain will probably be involved in that. I think at this point, I may not need to be worried about Great Britain. My army is, I think, significantly larger than theirs. Well, no, my army's about the same size, but here's the thing. My fleets are much stronger. I've got a huge Atlantic fleet. I've got a huge Pacific Fleet, actually. My Atlantic Fleet has officially gotten larger than it needs to be. Or at least larger than Dewey over here can handle, which suggests to me that maybe a secondary, maybe breaking off some of these old ships into a secondary fleet might be better. There's identification documents. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and increase our home affairs investment. Should be just fine. Now, currently colonial affairs were still on frontier colonization, which means I can't colonize in Africa at all. Right? By land or a very limited sea path. So I could not, for example... No. The only way I could get off of that is by going to no colonization and then going to a different colonization law. So that's off the table at present. Okay, George Dewey's maximum is 150 ships. So yeah, I could build a secondary fleet. Foreign Farm Acquisitions Incorporated. Debates between the Southern planters and the industrialists have spilled into the American news. The focal point, foreign investment in commercialized agriculture. With extraterritoriality about, what legal guarantees do we have that American laws affect Mexican citizens here? A fairer point would be who works that land. It's American land, it should be worked by American hands. But if they bring in their own labor and laws, that could be better for the domestic markets. All foreign investors will answer to American civil laws, deteriorates relations with Mexico, reduce enactment success chance, +1 approval from the Southern planters. Mexican laws are what they're familiar with, improves relations with Mexico, increased enactment success chance. Industrials happy, but extraterritorial rights is added to commercialized agriculture. I got to read what that does. This is an amendment. Reduced leverage resistance, reduced influence. Interesting. Or this overbearing caution serves nobody. Improves relations with Mexico, pisses off both the Southern planters and the industrialists. 2% of lower stratum pops in the United States become more radical. And open legal questions, reduce bureaucracy, increase loan interest rate added. Alright, well, all foreign investors will need to answer to American civil laws. That just makes sense. I'm sorry it's going to slow down enactment, but it is what it is. On the other hand, I could commence my own colonization by creating a colonial administration here, but I don't think that... I don't know that I want to do that. 381 weeks. Well, we're doing our best over there. We're not bringing in food to Sinai, which is weird. But we are reducing the starvation issue, which is good. Unemployment is significantly down, population is going up, and migration is positive, if not zero. So that's pretty good. Obviously, I'm spending a lot of money on the region. Cash flow is doing a little better, though. Are these areas... Are the African states incorporated yet? Not yet. A few more years. Strike wave in West Virginia. A wave of workers' strikes inspired by the labor movement have racked industries in West Virginia. Striking workers have joined protests in several cities across the region. The officer had expected the workers to be different than they were. Unwashed, stained with industrial effluvia, soaked in sweat. They were none of those things. They wore the same clothes they would on the weekends, fresh and clean. There was pride in their eyes. Instead of the cowed expressions of exhausted men, they stood defiant, their faces hard, their hands gripping signs that called for the world and more. Make it known that we recognize these demands. 2 years of reduced manufacturing and infrastructure throughput in West Virginia, reduced labor movement activism, stronger trade unions, or get them back to work. Significantly deeper reduction to manufacturing industry's throughput, trade unions very unhappy, but no reduction to labor movement activism and trade unions not stronger. I'm gonna go with the first one. Stronger trade unions is just fine with me. Alright, so now I'm not using most of my construction capacity, my ship construction capacity. And there's improved fertilizer. Very nice. Give me 1 second and then I'll look at that. Barnhouse dealings. Big fertility. And then... dry process versus wet process of mechanical pulping. Wet process of mechanical pulping, please. And then mechanical dryers, yes. Alright. That's more coffee. I like coffee. Tobacco plants, we have electric rollers, but we don't have electricity. We'll deal with that in a moment. Ditto with logging camps. What was I looking into? Right. I need to get producing more, better fertilizers. Which I will be. Let's put an export subvention on fertilizer for the time being. See if we can submit an export of that stuff. Actually, that was probably a mistake. Because fertilizer is an input good for a lot of different things. Okay, barnhouse dealings. Oh, man. With the government's drive to enact commercialized agriculture in full swing, a group of well-off farmers turned landowners from Delaware, owing their affluence to their close proximity to the major grain markets in Wilmington, have offered to put their considerable political weight behind the law proposal, were they to be granted certain concessions from the government. The issue of tying land to extractive wealth is simple. Whoever controls the land with valuables will have a greater voice in an amassed society. Whether this comes in the form of wheat, cotton, or opium does not matter. It invariably leads to a desire to avoid losing that greater voice. And so come the impassioned compromise. A temporary sacrifice of pride to hold on to power that bit longer. I'm sure we could cough up some agriculture subsidies, extra enactment success chance, $33K a week in government expenses for 5 years. Excuse me. Grant them preferential land rights in Delaware. Southern planters get stronger, but no cost. Or we can do without such skullduggery. The law looks secure as it is. 2% of aristocrats in Delaware become more radical. I'm going to pay for it. That's going to fuck up my budget surplus, but that's okay. How much? Only 110K in government debt right now, my nerds. That's fine, right? It's fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be so fine. Alright. Let's build our other fleet. We got 10 ships in construction, right? Yes. What are you talking about? That's not the right number. So the new fleet's going to have 50 ships. We'll take the oldest, so we'll take some... Oh, you can do that with the mouse wheel. That's cool. So we'll take all 4 of the early ironclads. We'll take one of the modern ironclads. Actually, we'll take 6 of the modern ironclads, because we're building more of those. And then we'll take 40. Let's take 20 and 20 of the iron frigates, torpedo boats. Iron frigates and torpedo boats. And that'll be good. So, the 5th American Fleet. What do we want to call this? What will this fleet be? This will be the Home Defense Fleet. Let's get Hazen Wheaton over here. Actually, no. Thomas Fitzhugh. Oh no, that's something else. Irving Belknap. No, we've already assigned this guy. So let's go ahead and promote him. That gives him 50 capacity, 60 capacity. All right, that's fine. And what do we want this fleet to do? Let's have this fleet. Ideally, they would be projecting power somewhere we want to project power. Maybe Southeast Asia? We'll figure that out later. The Great Garment Factory Fire. A deadly fire has killed many workers in Pennsylvania due to dangerous working conditions and locked emergency exits. It's been revealed that George Dewey, a prominent member of the armed forces, and this episode's thumbnail fella, an admiral, was the owner of the now scorched factory. One of the men who tried to put out the fire testified at the inquiry. I thought the room was full of charred machinery, he said, but then I stepped on something soft. This is just the price of progress. Stronger and happier armed forces, 5% of lower sternum pops in Pennsylvania become more radical, or George Dewey must be held responsible for these deaths. Pissed off armed forces and weaker. I'm just going to have to go with price of progress because he's on the thumbnail. I mean, what am I supposed to do? He's on the thumbnail. My hands are tied. Persia, my boy. Give me investment rights. Defensive pact? Is there anything I want from you? Steel estates? No. Treaty port in Fars? No. Do I want a defensive pact? I got plenty of influence. Yeah, let's do it. The New York Agreement. Wonderful. Oh, we still have a truce. 8 more months. 8 more months, Egypt. Well, possibly a little bit longer because I think I want to take over Ethiopia and Harar before I form my colonial administration. Ooh, there's my new mandate. Lovely. So, where's the naval one? Maritime supremacy. Extra ship involvement generation, extra flagship involvement gain. Submit. Actually... Oh, the pre-dreadnoughts are still being built. Alright, that's fine. We'll continue to build our pre-dreadnoughts. Investment pool's looking good. 42 weeks on these. Alright, that's fine. Yeah, that's about 8 months. How's everything going? With my friend Canada, everything's going great. Commercialized agriculture, wonderful. Now, I'm having a little bit of a cohesion problem with regard to Hawaii. With regard to IT. IT, who's in charge over there? Think you can go to Universal Suffrage? Give it a shot. Yeah, they're trying. They're enacting it. Lovely. Wonderful. 10% chance. Let's do it. Alright, could decrease autonomy of a lot of different places, but I don't need to. I don't need to. Hey, there's the bolt action rifle. Wonderful. Let's get our arms industries producing bolt actions. Ooh, I got camera. I got camera, and I didn't even notice. Oh man, I'm so smart and good at video games. Let's go to covered markets, shall we? Flood the place with services. Alright, just about another half a year on those dreadnoughts. We're almost down to 0 infamy. which will let us go after Egypt no problem. Hold on. Nile Basin. Do I need to be at pervasive to start diplomatic plays? No, I can. Right. Okay, hold on. Let me look at this number. This is September. I need to wait until September. Which is fine. Alright, I just need to cool my jets a little bit. I just need to cool my jets. The war in Oman is making it very difficult to take Hormuz. Law progressed to voting. Wonderful. We'll be through that soon. Turmoil is getting reduced. I'm gonna hit the incorporate button here. It's gonna take a long time, but that's gonna slowly provide some law enforcement institution that's gonna reduce the impact of the bad stuff going on over there. Actually, no. Going to high government wages would not allow me to get more authority. Swedish mass immigration, very cool. Now there are places where I'm losing taxation capacity, where I'm low on taxation capacity, but I'm not actually losing that much cash, and I've got a lot of bureaucracy available, so there's no urgent need for me to expand those. General James Longstreet has passed away. Is everything good in my armies? The regular army needs a new general. Let's go with Franklin Delano. Oh, he's reckless. Not so good. Henry Barber, perhaps. Australian National Awakening. Now we are in the black, finally. Home affairs increased, very good. Ships are almost finished. And nowhere else I can increase mobilization capacity. Franco-Provençal mass immigration. Wonderful. Law debate success. Excellent. So we're up to 46% chance with commercialized agriculture with no opposition. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. The trade unions are against, but they're not in the government. They're headed up by a humanitarian. Ooh, interesting. Opportunity to snag multiculturalism, which would be really, really cool. So this is interesting. So it seems like Great Britain actually has kind of completely failed to make inroads here, and this led to an interesting world where Messina has actually built a strong power base. Maybe not necessarily to rival Sokoto, but potentially. France is colonized from the north and up from the south, and they're starting to move in the Sahara region, but that's barely affected things. Is Great Britain colonizing here? I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure. Threshing machines. Very nice. I don't think that's going to affect anything, but we'll see. So end of September should be when it becomes time for us to make our war. So, 35 infamy. Bulgaria says no. Ottoman Empire doesn't get involved. Great Britain doesn't get involved. Let's do it. Interesting. Let's raise... conscripts here. We'll go to maximum defense, and we'll deploy the Sinai army to this front. Now, Egypt has a substantial force. The question is, do I need to move the Marine Corps to the Sinai front? Actually, I think it's strategically useful to move the Marine Corps to the Sinai front. So, we'll go there with the assistance of the Oceanic Fleet. I believe will need to take 2 trips, but the troop transfer fleet is in America. We'll take the troop transfer fleet. They'll be able to get here. They're pretty fast. Yeah, the troop transfer fleet's already on their way. 62 days. Well, here's hoping. I think it'll be fine. We'll see who wants to get involved. Now, I might... Do I add my war goals for Blue Nile and Kordofan? Interesting. Blue Nile is going to be 13. Kordofan is going to be 7.9. I think I've got enough to do that. 13 and 8 is 21. That is more. Now, I can steal Kordofan later, if I want to. But I would need to get them down to a puppet, so I don't want to do that. Blue Nile, do I add this to the primary? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. Maybe I use this to encourage them to surrender. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Alright, we got it sorted. We got it sorted. A lot of 8 success, very nice. Troop transfer fleet is on their way. Cash flow is obviously a little bit shakier now, but that's okay. I think the Marine Corps will be able to take their capital no problem. I would like to have better Marines, but I've got to continue to knock out my industrials from a tech perspective. Sea lane strategies is very, very good. Actually, let's do the Marines first. Then we'll do sea lane strategies. Concrete dry dock gets us modern port. Ooh, oil in Saskatchewan. I've got a lot of oil, so concrete dockyards would be good. On the other hand, that is spreading to us right now. We've got a lot of unspent innovation flowing into that, but our literacy is going up, which is putting us more in the tech we're currently working on. If we snag military aviation, that would be nice. But automatic machine gun would also be good. Let's grab automatic machine gun first. Then we'll do sea lane strategies. Then we'll do defense in depth. Then we'll do military aviation. And that'll put us in very good stead. Troop transfer fleet is on their way to Suez, to Sinai. Canal Force has mobilized. And the Army of Africa has mobilized as well. Border crossing. This would be ill-advised. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before because I don't want more infamy. Now is an especially bad time for me to take a huge hit of infamy. So once again, the United States Marine Corps is going to have... we're just going to have the capital as their target. As long as we can get the capital, this war will sort itself out, and that'll be fine. We're going to have a pretty large difference in... Things are going to be different once we enact commercialized agriculture, but I think things should be good to go. We'll set the target to the capital. For the Army of Africa, the target will be Blue Nile. I think I made the right decision not getting too much infamy, because it's going to be a long time to reduce my infamy enough to be able to do other stuff over here. Automate failed. Well, gosh dang it. Gosh dang it. I really don't want to use authority on a decree here because I'm a relatively low authority build altogether. Piedmont has a Savoyard uprising. Interesting. Wonder if France is going to get involved in that. How's my Power Bloc doing? Doing pretty well. IT is still working on Universal Suffrage, right? They're at 1 out of 3 with no setbacks, 20% chance to move to study. Okay, not bad, not bad. Oil in Manitoba, very cool. And that's the ship construction complete. I'm going to pause ship construction completely. And then we'll start chipping away at our national debt. And that'll be good long term. In terms of the war, we're at 51% occupation and moving forward. So that's pretty good. And then we'll complete the Veiled Protectorate event and we'll see what happens. Alright, I think given where the enemy units are, we'll move this way. We have our smaller force over there. And you know what? You guys can go on offense. And there's Commercialized Agriculture. Beautiful. So, from here, what other law stuff do we want to do? Definitely don't want hereditary bureaucrats. I was going to go to Jeune Ecole. That was what I was going to do. This was going to give me... So, increased cruiser construction efficiency. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. Let's do it. Northeast Asia tier increased. Excellent. Pretty hard to get Japan into your block without forcing them. Alright, so this war should be basically over at this stage. It's just a matter of waiting for the enemy's war support to run out, and I'm not worried about that. Oman has cleverly made it completely impossible for me to take the Straits of Hormuz by having them be completely locked down. That's right, I should get Lahej. That's the other thing I should do. Sorry, by having a slavery revolt this whole time. So from here, next target is Lahej. Not because I need the territory, but because I want to have full control over Bab el-Mandeb. Because that'll get me a complete chokehold on the movement of trade through this area, and that will be very important. How's cash flow? Cash flow is doing well. Let's take a quick look at tech. I think once I'm done with the military stuff I've got, I want to run for corporate governance. And then I think multilateral alliances. I'm very far ahead on tech at this stage. Central planning would be very nice for my bureaucracy needs, but I don't have the production to support it necessarily, because I don't have telephone or radio yet. So, what else? The art of doing nothing. Though previously opposing the Jeune Ecole law, Susan B. Anthony has considered the petite bourgeoisie's political position, and instead offers support. While speaking with constituents on matters of law, one must first master the art of appearing to do nothing. While you do everything behind whispers and masked men? Indubitably. Welcome their support. 50% increase to interest group pop attraction for the petite bourgeoisie, or 2 5% increases, which is only a little bit more than a 10% increase, but 10% extra success chance. Or keep a sharp eye, they're up to something, only 5% active success chance, but Susan B. Anthony loses some popularity. Just going to do the first one, I think that's fine. She's currently part of the reactionary movement, but once we've got feminism researched, I think she'll join that. Or no, we've got feminism research. Well, why don't we have a feminist movement? Maybe political agitation will get us there. Oh, that's right. Political agitation isn't nearly as bad this time because it's not until mass propaganda that you actually get a fascist movement. So maybe we'll cue in political agitation after corporate governance and multilateral alliances. All right, Egypt is at negative, so they should be willing to accept our peace terms. Still no. All right, well, that's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not salty. I'm not salty. I'm a little salty. Undefended fronts. Weird. Okay. Just want to make sure we don't end up with any chicanery here. I don't know why you're taking the grand tour of Sinai State to get there, but I'm sure it would be cool if you didn't. You know, you can just take the road straight to the front. There's not, there's a crossroad right here. This spot, you can go there. Nobody's stopping you. Anyway. 32. They should be there very soon now. We've got a hold of the whole country. Trade unions are big mad. Interesting. Alright, there we go. That should do it. Give me the goods. So that should trigger the Veiled Protectorate. Here we go. I've never seen this event before, so let's see what happens. The United States of America has secured dominion over Egypt. The state of affairs is quickly becoming known as the Veiled Protectorate. For by a technicality, Egypt remains legally subject to the Ottoman Sultan, who helplessly observes the situation. Today, the Nile was inundated with blood. Those who opposed the new regime were quickly put down. American diplomats and politicians have a fire in their eyes as they discuss under the shadow of the pyramids how they will bring civilization to the lands of Egypt. None can deny the power of the American Empire, exert influence and prestige, deteriorates relations with the Ottoman Empire by 20, or assure the new Egyptian Khedivate of our support. Kazim al-Alawi dies. The landowners moderate. Commander-in-Chief. Okay, so the leader of... Oh. Curious. So I can get some extra influence and prestige, or I can freaking kill the leader of Egypt in order to improve relations with Egypt. That's brutal. Let's do it. He's dead. He's dead, Jim. Will improve relations. That improves relations to -8, which is very respectable. Who's leading up the country now? Regent Ismet bin Mesbah, an intelligentsia modernizer. Cool. Very cool. Alright. So, Suez Canal Force. You're in the Suez Canal. U.S. Marine Corps, can you please return to Africa? You're on your way there. Army of Africa, you're on your way there as well. I've now got an Egyptian army, which I can safely close out. Egypt sides with the Qasimid state about something. Ah, a situation over there. Very well. No problem at all. So, I need to take the hedge. 3.5 infamy. Egypt might step in. If they do, I'll reduce their autonomy. Ottoman slave revolt's still going. Gosh dang. Maybe I'll hand over the hedge to Egypt once this is done. I think that's probably a smart way to go. Their liberty desire is balanced. It's going up because we've got infamy. But it'll be going down from relations pretty soon, and that'll be good. What do we... Can offer them knowledge sharing. No, I want to keep my own tech growing. No, actually, long-term knowledge sharing is better. Plus, that'll get them moving down in liberty desire and everything. Speaking of which, Do I still want to be giving knowledge sharing to Cuba? I think I can cut that. It still leaves their liberty desire below 25 and going down, and I think that's fine. Technically Cuba is a dominion. I can turn them into a colony, but I don't need that. I don't need them to be a colony. The voice of the nation. A group of respectable musical composers teaching at the Arts Academy in Alaska have approached us. They've drawn attention to the alarming lack of a proper national anthem to invigorate our people's spirits. Land of mountains, land by the river, glory is ours to deliver. Born from the night and blessed by day, our fate will be completed today. Now that's a cool anthem. 20 prestige. Very nice. Let's set up our ledger. We're still ahead of Great Britain, but not by that much. Political migration. The rich and unstable political environment in the United States of America has proven attractive to political exiles and stateless people, who have begun to congregate in the coffee houses of Washington. Oh, Washington, you flawed yet fiery jewel. Where else could one see 3 different demonstrations within a 5 minutes walk? They're welcome to join the sea of voices, extra radicals from political movements and prestige. Or these people make a mockery of the United States, reduce prestige, reduce radicals from political movements. I'm going to pick the first one almost assuredly, unless the guy will get Augustin Paris, a trade union's utopian. Hell yeah! Welcome. Are you an historical character? No. Susan B. Anthony is an historical character. But you're not. Law of progressive voting. Wonderful. Alright, so we're almost at Jeune Ecole. Shipping of international debt's going well. We're down below 100 mil. So that's good. Less than 100 million in national debt. It could happen to you. Gifts among friends. An internal investigation has discovered that a government official received many gifts from Albert Roosevelt on behalf of the Anti-Ottoman Association. The official leading the investigation details his findings. Does Albert Roosevelt have no integrity? Among the gifts sent the following was found: a half dozen parcels of cloth, a carving knife, a pocket knife, 5 pairs of gloves, 23 barrels of salt, and a dozen bottles of America's finest Colonia water. Is this not bribery in support of the Anti-Ottoman Association's cause? The Anti-Ottoman Association has done nothing suspect. 5% of intelligentsia members' pops become more loyalist. Or perhaps their leader should step down. Albert Roosevelt resigns from the intelligentsia. He's a liberal. We get extra legitimacy. Let's go for the legitimacy, and we'll see what comes of that. The only way I can get more legitimacy is to boot the trade unions from the government. Looks like everything's going to stay the same during the next election cycle, except the evangelicals are going to bail out of the Democratic Party. We'll see what happens with that. That election's going to come in '92, which is this year. All right, let's get our naval invasion on. I forgot to mobilize the Marine Corps. All right, one moment, please. We'll get our invasion on in a minute. So smart and good at video games. I even positioned them and everything and then just completely forgot. Oh, that's so funny. Supply ships are doing well. Alright, mobilization is complete. Organization at 100%. Let's get invading. We'll use the Oceanic Fleet because they're right here. We're not going to get the entire contingent of troops, but that's okay. I really should increase the size of the regular army. Getting some standing army power projection would be very good. I think I'm going to do that. So, we'll do 1, 2, 3. I'm just rounding out odd numbers at this point. 2, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then, infantry. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Alright. So that gets us up to 75 units of infantry. For artillery, we'll do... Yeah, 10 will go up to 50. So... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... Then 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. That should be enough. Goldfields depleted. American Guyana goldfield depletion event. I'm going to say unfortunate. I almost always do that. This is going to cost us some cash, but it's going to be worth it long term to get us some extra army power projection. Henry Barber will definitely need a promotion, but that'll be just fine. How's the invasion of La Hedge going? Discord within the Southern Planters. Oh, heck yes. An influential faction within the Southern Planters has grown frustrated with their co-members' neutrality on the topic of Jeune Ecole. Themselves in favor of the law, they have now resolved to form a separate political faction intent on passing it. How can you all stand idly by and watch the world pass before your eyes? Have you no sense of honor, of duty to your fellow man? I say nay to such lack of ambition, and I dare say I am not alone in this. With their support, the bill shall pass, 15% enactment success chance, weaker Southern Planters, or the armed forces extend an open hand to these mavericks, only 10% enactment success chance, but the Southern Planters are weakened by 15%, and the armed forces increased in strength by 10%. I'm going to go with that second one. I think it's obvious why. Because I always piss off the Southern Planters if I can possibly make it happen. Alright, Maritime Supremacy up to level 2. Max ship construction progress, heck yes. French mass immigration, very cool. We're still number 2 of the power blocks. Number 1's probably the British Empire. All blocks, yeah, British Empire. That's the war completed. We got so many countries. $5,960 versus us, we're at 4,600. Okay. That's not that far away. We have the ability to get there. Let's go ahead and grab the Marine Corps. Oh, they're already on their way back to Africa. Excellent. My attempt to improve the situation in Sinai has not gone exactly to plan, but turmoil is slowly going down, and with that, the efficiency with which the Suez Canal is built is gradually increasing. And there's land. Portuguese mass immigration. That's also pretty cool. Where are you going? You're going back to America. Well, that's not... Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I guess you're, Who's taking you there? I'm not sure. Ethiopia supporting separatism? Well, gosh dang it. Alright, let's take a look at the election. So the Socialist Party of America and the Democratic Party are both pretty close. But the Democrats have less momentum. The Socialists have more. So I think the Socialists are going to take it this time. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think it's going to be the Socialists. So, pressing issues. The ongoing election has drawn attention to the platforms of the various contending parties. Across the United States of America, the electorate debates which party is worth trusting with the next term in government. The first thing I take into account is the safety of my investments. If a party would represent chaos, I may safely discount it. The stockbroker tapped his cigar on the rim of the ashtray and continued. The journalist took notes as he spoke. How will the incoming government's tariff policy affect my needed imports? Do they wish to impose taxes which may spur uncertainty? Do they wish to embark upon military adventures? Would these adventures be profitable or would they be ruinous? There is much to consider. The Democratic Party makes decisive arguments. The electorate trusts the Republican Party's policy, or the Socialist Party of America's policies have merit. You know, I'm going with that third one. Up to 83% for Jeune Ecole. And that takes the Socialists to 55% majority, which I'm feeling pretty good about, all things considered. I didn't start incorporating Blue Nile, so I'll hit that button now. Close to finishing incorporation for our states in Eastern Africa, which is good. The Unions Campaign. Utilizing Augustin Parra's connection to the trade unions, the Socialist Party of America has gained a much greater share of dedicated and ideologically committed union voters. Stacks of posters exited the printer's shop, each bearing the logo of the Socialist Party of America and a slogan. Men with hammers, calls for solidarity, and red ink by the pail splashed across the papers, ready to be pinned up around the city by a veritable army of partisans. He took a moment to look with pride at a draft sitting on a workbench, studying the shapes printed on the paper, at the vibrant reds, blacks, and whites, and then, most of all, at the bottom right corner, where the crucial sigil made its appearance, produced with union labor. Mobilize the union vote for the Socialist Party of America, extra 30% momentum for them, or strong trade unions will serve us for many years. 10% momentum for the Socialist Party, 5% of trade unions member pops become more loyalists. That's really good. And then 20% stronger trade unions for 5 years. So, how many pops are we talking? That's only 3.9. That's not 3.9 million. That's not as many as I was thinking. We'll just mobilize the union vote. 30% momentum is very, very good. Rock solid, in fact. Alright, so that's put our projected votes up at 60%. So I'm feeling reasonably confident about that. Fleets. Oceanic Fleet. You're over here. And you're back in the United States. Alright, let's get the 7th Army back to New York. We'll send the troop transfer fleet to get them there. And then the Oceanic Fleet. What do we want you doing? I think we still want you projecting power. Let's have you project power in the Bay of Bengal, shall we? How is the investment pool doing? It's doing pretty well, and it's using the entire construction pool. So I think it won't be too long before we can increase construction again. The good old days. When invited to give a speech on behalf of the Democratic Party, Clifton Jones began extolling the virtues of a strong home, strong borders, and strong men. The public reception was mixed. Truly, I dare say, the men are no longer men. They're coddled with books, as if they're any substitute for a real adventure. Their mothers swaddle them in cotton and silk, only for them to be henpecked by their wives, and heaven forbid they take a pint of beer. One sip and they need their fathers to carry them home. Won't someone think of the children? 10% momentum for the Democratic Party. Or rhetoric cannot disguise what Jones wants. Minus 50 popularity for him, and minus 30 momentum for the Democrats. Can I pick that second one? That's going to really shift up our electoral prospects. Let's take a look at that in a moment. Yeah, so that's really knocked down the Democratic Party's share of the vote. That puts the Socialists at 70%, which is not bad at all. Greek mass immigration. Cool. Insufficient construction for investment pool. That's a good problem to have. So let me see. We're at 116 sectors. Oh, you know what? I forgot to reset production methods in Blue Nile. There we go. Perfect. Production and agitation. In collaboration with the Democratic Party, Susan Anthony has secured a deal for cheap and quickly distributed pamphlets in support of the party. The interior of the carriage held a pleasant surprise. A crate of several thousand pamphlets printed on an industrial scale, each with instructions in the voting process and a cheaply copied logo of the Democratic Party. They made a hefty weight, and she hoped would turn out to be an equally sized benefit. Bury our opponents in a sea of paper, extra momentum for the Democrats, or these connections can be used later. Not as much extra momentum, but Susan B. Anthony becomes ambitious. I'm going to pick that second one. That's all benefits compared to the other. Come on, Jeune Ecole. Come on, Jeune Ecole. 82%. There we go. Beautiful. Lovely. So, anything else we want to do with the laws? I don't think so. Not yet. This might be time to run, to take a run at our taxation law. We'll see how that goes. Maybe we can get ourselves all the way to graduated. That would be nice. So Great Britain is really at the heart of the alliance against us. Commander commends Civic Coalition. Rear Admiral Jones has made public statements in support of the Republican Party, bringing into question the political neutrality of the military. So he is a market liberal aligned with the intelligentsia right now. It is my duty to defend the nation and its interests. Politics is as much a part of war as battles and logistics are. I don't see any problem with doing my duty and doing what I can to make sure that those who are best fit to protect the nation end up being the ones in charge. He can say what he wants, experiment with the Republicans. Good soldiers don't give orders, they take them. Officers' pops become more radical. Or if he likes politics so much, he ought to get more involved. So our current head of the Republicans is Thaddeus Woodbridge, a market liberal. Rear Admiral Jones is also a market liberal. You know what? That's fine. Put him in charge. Means we're going to need a new admiral somewhere. I guess not. But the regular army's Henry Barber needs a promotion. That'll be fine. That'll be just fine. Oh. At this point, I should be able to reincorporate these Marine units into the Marine Corps. Not yet. They can't reach them. Where are you at? You're still on the sea. Okay. I radically overestimated how much time had gone by. That's fine. I think my Marine Corps needs an upgrade, but I can't get there until I'm not going to do that until I've got them merged back up together because I don't want to goof myself up here. We still want more investment pool? I think we do. We'll go ahead and build 2 levels in Blue Nile, 1 in Somaliland. Where else has got an uneven number? I know some places got one. Sinai. We'll build up 1 in Sinai. That's 4. That gets us up to 20. And we'll get us up to 30. So we'll do 2 in Arizona, 2 in New Mexico, 2 in Wyoming, 2 in Nebraska, 2 in Kansas, 2 in Montana, 2 in North Dakota, 2 in South Dakota. And we need 4 more. Let's do 2 more each in Oregon and Washington. I'm just going to throw the Suez Canal at the top of that, just so that we don't waste any weeks on that, because Suez Canal is going to take so long that it's going to be ridiculous. All right, Socialist Party is looking to get 66% of the vote. We'll see what happens when that happens. Will this be our... No. The next election will be the first election where the African states will be participating. We'll see how that changes up our politics. All right, very nice. Our army expansion's almost done. After that, we'll go... Well, Philip Sheridan died. Zebulon Peck is our new president. Excellent. So I can keep the Democratic Party in here, or I can give them the boot to get my trade unions stronger. I think we will simply rule with the trade unions. So... From here, I think right to associate is the way to go. A lot of people are against, and that's okay. Beautiful. Manufacturing industries throughput's the way to go. Golly. How's the national debt looking? 83 million. That's not bad. Paying 10k in interest right now, but mostly that's because the petite bourgeoisie are happy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Trade unions petition government. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Look at this. They want regulatory bodies. I don't want regulatory bodies. I want... I don't want proportional. I want graduated. Gosh dang it. Alright. Anyway. Trade unions petition government. Representing his constituents in the trade unions, Zebulon Dayton has... Wasn't his name Peck a second ago? Maybe I'm making that up. Zebulon Dayton has issued a formal petition to the American government to pass regulatory bodies. One last matter for the day, sir. Members of your constituency arrived this morning. They're asking rather loudly and insistently if you would meet with them about new legislation. Is that it? Goodness, you seem to have seen a ghost. I'm sure I can spare the last hours of the light for them, can't I? I believe so, sir. They were not taking no for an answer. We'll see what we can do. Pass regulatory bodies in the next 5 years. Offer them proportional taxation as a compromise, or they must understand the present situation doesn't allow for this. I'm going to take the hit. I'm going to say the present situation doesn't allow for this. We're going forward with graduated taxation, and damn the consequences. Without illusions. Amongst the current generation of socialists, a mode of analysis based upon class conflict has supplanted the multitudinous utopian ideas of the past. To dream is no longer sufficient. To the utopians, socialism is the expression of absolute truth, reason, and justice, all of which are different with the foundation of each different school. And as each one's special kind of absolute truth, reason, and justice is again conditioned by his subjective understanding, his conditions of existence, the measure of his knowledge and his intellectual training, there is no other ending possible in this conflict of absolute truths than that they shall be mutually exclusive of one another. Socialism has evolved, and so must its proponents. Utopian characters not affiliated with the petite bourgeoisie will become communists. Utopian characters will no longer appear in the country. Interesting. Okay, so our current leader is a humanitarian, so he's not going to be affected. But one of our fellows will. One of our agitators will. This guy will become a communist. So that means he's going to lose his... Do utopians not like multiculturalism anymore? I thought that was what they were about. Universal Suffrage, Workers' Protections, Republic, Cooperative Ownership, Peasant Proprietorship. Yeah. Weird. Alright, interesting. Socialism evolved in so much as proponents. Communists, on the other hand, Workers' Protections. Council Republic only. Command Economy, Cooperative Ownership, State Atheism, Collectivized Agriculture. Okay, alright. The liberation of the individual will bring forth utopia. Utopian characters not affiliated with the petite bourgeoisie will become anarchists. Council Republic, no police, protected speech, factory councils, cooperative ownership, anarchy, multiculturalism. A new society will be birthed from cooperation between classes. Utopian characters will become corporatists. How curious. Or, in dark times, one must cling to what inspires them. Existing utopian characters will retain their current ideology. Interesting. Really interesting. I'm going to go with the fourth one. I can't turn them into socialists. And I can't turn them into humanitarians. So I'm going to leave them as utopians for the time being. We'll see what happens. I'm not necessarily looking to move over to communism at present. Alright, and that's putting our cash flow in a much better spot. Yemenite National Awakening. Now, my trade unions are a little salty. I am getting a penalty to legitimacy, but it's not affecting me. Our boy Dayton is definitely going to allow us to do some interesting stuff with this humanitarian situation here. Alright. Rich Associates looking good. Still kicking around at 37 infamy, which could be worse, but could be better. Organization, the Army of Africa, they need a leader. Let's see. Let's go with Franklin Delano. Not to be confused with any other Franklin Delano. His name's just Franklin Delano. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh my goodness. Civil War in Brazil. A slaver revolt. Did this already happen? It already happened. Okay. Well, I'm so good at video games. Why is there a frontier in New Granada? Is New Granada involved in this war? Yes, they are. And so is Chile. Interesting. And New Granada's on the side of the slavers, which sucks. Have you guys been doing a slavery down there? They are. Gosh dang it. New Granada. We'll sort you out. Stop doing slavery. Maybe that was an overreaction, but I don't think so. Speaking of slave revolts, this Omani slave revolt has lasted a really, really long time. How long until this sorts itself out? So they're losing 0.72 per week. They got 30 left to go, so that's like 45 weeks. That's like another year. Oh my goodness. I'm experiencing a shortage of bureaucracy. That's very bad. Let me see. Let me figure out how to do it. Wow. Because my petite bourgeoisie are no longer powerful. That's what happened. Alright, easy peasy. Let's get our... let's get our government admins building up. So where do we have shortages of taxation capacity? We need 5 levels in North Dakota. Realistically, I think we might need 6. 5 levels in Montana. 4 levels in Louisiana. Texas, realistically, we need 3. Kansas, 3. Nebraska, 3. Washington, Kentucky, Iowa, Wisconsin, and New York, we need 2 each. And then we need 1 each in South Dakota and Wyoming. We want in Missouri, let's do 1 in Missouri. Just to give ourselves a little buffer. Alright, this will cost us a huge pile of cash to build, but that's okay. We need it to keep our cash flow back at reasonable levels. Because this 3.8% tax base, that's just destroying money. Freedom of thought completed. Interesting. The thought, the word, and the ideal. Those who seek to think boldly and freely are increasingly finding the United States to be one of the safest places to explore their ideas. Have you read the filth laid out in this supposed poem about the American president? Outrageous! Outrageous! Written by one of his countrymen, too. Can you imagine? I got a copy for myself. Someone needs to keep an eye on these literary libertines. The American government certainly isn't. That you'd know of. A utopia for the modern artist, extra arts academy throughput, and the new Colossus journal entry, or a place where research is unimpeded by tradition. Extra university throughput and the new Colossus journal entry. You know I'm going with that second one. I love university throughput. It's one of my very favorite things. Alright, so I did cost myself some money weakening my petite bourgeoisie, rather. Interesting. I've still got a lot of infamy, so I'm not bashing away at anything. Investment pool's looking good. We're using all of our construction capacity. Low organization, the regular army. Barber needs another promotion. Very well. Very nice, Mr. Barber. We'll get there. We'll get there. We have many things to do in this new and exciting world. Malagasy National Awakening in North Madagascar. Law progressed to voting. Wonderful. Yeah, we're almost there, actually. Very, very good. So from here, we've fallen back to number 2 because we weren't building more boats. I need to take another run at Great Britain and sink some of their ships. Bastards. Bastards. Perhaps that is the answer. Right. I was going to upgrade my Marines. No, I was going to move the 7th American Army into the Marine Corps. And then I was going to upgrade the Marines. Alright. Hit the upgrade button here. And then, do I have space where I can put more Marines? A few. Let's add some more Marines to Washington, and we'll add some more shrapnel artillery to Arizona. Stronger Marine Corps, good for the country. Let me see, we're paying $30K in interest a week, which isn't bad. It's pretty rough, not gonna lie. It's pretty rough. But that's part of why I'm trying to chip away at this year national debt so that we can get back to a good point. We're at 75 mil, which is pretty respectable. We're not currently constructing. So maybe I could start building new ships. Oh my goodness. I did it again. I did it again. Gosh dang it. Okay, hold on. Alright. Now I'm retrofitting. I'm going to resume ship construction. So we'll see how much this takes. 39 weeks. Okay. So, for whoever asked if there was retrofitting, there is, and we're doing it now. Popular playwright endorses reform. In the midst of the debate surrounding the right to associate, one of our country's leading playwrights, strongly associated with the trade unions, has staged a widely acclaimed play whose politically laden theme makes no secret of the author's desire for the law to be passed. The man's viewpoints may be somewhat partisan, but sir, you cannot argue with his prose. Right to associate will be on everyone's lips now, 10% Ackman success chance. Sharpens the trade unions in a good light, stronger trade unions. Well, let's ensure the play gets a wider international audience, extra prestige. I'm actually going for the prestige because I'm trying to keep up above Britain. Where are we with tech? We're going for the automatic machine gun, which is pretty good. We're generating a lot of tech. And we got 11 from unspent innovation into the spread, which is making spread operate pretty quickly. What do we have spreading in social? We don't. We're all the way ahead on social. Okay. All right. Nice. Do we have anything spreading in production? We do. We have electrical capacitors spreading. Military, we got automatic machine guns spreading. Okay. All right. We're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well. Pretty well indeed. Harari Nihilist Revolt. Very cool. An American-French Friendship Committee. Very nice. I'm going to get involved in this. Mostly because I don't want them to be stuck in a forever war. Like Oman, which I've been hoping to chip some bits off of for the last, 5 years, and have been unable to do so, tragically. Booming oil industry. The recent expansion of the oil rigs in Texas has boosted confidence in the United States of America's future as an oil producer. If our ancestors had seen machines powered by a black flammable liquid bursting forth from the earth, they surely would have called our technological marvels the work of the devil. Thank God we live in such enlightened times. Get every drop from those wells, extra oil extractors throughput, or we'll find more things to put oil in, extra progress for combustion engine. I'm going to go for the progress on combustion engine, thank you very much. Please and thank you. Oh, Sinai, you flawed yet fiery jewel. Why are you so hard to build a canal? I built the canal easy peasy. Preemptive strikes. Amazing. Alright, automatic machine gun, we'll just add that to our mobilization methods, no problem. The news of the government's efforts to enshrine the right to associate has spread rapidly through working-class communities. The industrialists have begun to complain about corresponding uptick in illegal union activity. The moment the government announced its initiative, the posters started appearing. The vain efforts of the night watchmen to catch the perpetrators bore no fruit, forcing the firm into damage control. Every night the walls were plastered, and in the morning the company filled the bins with last night's efforts. The very next night, the garbage men announced their new union. Order the courts to disregard these complaints, piss off my industrialists, 20% acting success chance, or the present laws remain in effect. 2% of laborers and 5% of machinists in the whole country become more radical, but the industrialists become happier. Wow. I'm actually going to take the hit on radicals. Let's see how bad it is. Because keeping my industrialists happy is going to be vital for what's coming up. Okay, about 500,000 radicals. Ouch. Revolution in Southern Europe. Revolutionary Papal States. That's exciting. Papal Anarchist Revolts. Oh my gosh, incredible. 1 billion out of 10. Alright, how's the retrofit going for these ships? Oh man. Some of them are going to be done sooner than others. I wonder if the private sector built up more shipping. Wow. I'm actually not paying that much in shipyard subsidies, but obviously I'm paying for all the ships. So, things are funny. Alright, so this war is going to pop off really soon. Hopefully it'll sort itself out in very time. 2 arms. Very good. Yes, yes. Do I still have any clippers demand? Quite a bit, but only outside the country. So let's, ooh, I got modern port method. Let's do it. We got our little by little event again. My war in Harar just finished. We'll make Americans a vignette, same as I've been doing before. Let's take a look at our shipyards. We have Maine and Virginia still producing wooden ships. Let's swap Virginia over to steamships. I'll produce more ship construction. More oil in Manitoba. Can't complain about that. Come on, right to associate. Hey, there it goes. All right, beautiful. So stronger trade unions from that. Now it's time for graduated taxation. Huzzah. This should solve our cash flow problem. Obviously, the industrialists are biggest mad now, but we don't have a movement that's creating a problem about it. So that's okay. I don't have a naval fortification there. That's why I'm not charging tolls on the other side. Alright, beautiful. Easy peasy. The Great Molasses Flood. A storage tank full to the brim with molasses, intended for rum distillation, has burst, flooding the streets of Nashville's commercial center, killing dozens and injuring hundreds of bystanders. The molasses, waist-deep, covered the streets and swirled and bubbled about in the wreckage. Here and there a struggle to form. Whether it was animal or human was impossible to tell. Only an upheaval, a thrashing about in the sticky mass. showed where any life was at all. Close distilleries while the wreckage gets clear. Reduced food industry's throughput in Tennessee. Or one tragedy must not stop progress. 5% each of machinists, engineers, clerks, and shopkeepers become more radical. I can slow down the food industries for a little bit. 6 weeks for these naval fortifications shouldn't be a problem at all. Alright, there are various groups I can negotiate with, but none of them really are in a position to stop me, so bully for me. Let's go! Let's go! Graduated taxation ahoy. So this'll probably create a little bit of a difficulty with my investment pool, but it will increase my standard of living by a significant amount, and it will hopefully fix up my cash flow issues, which have been a problem through most of the recent run as I've continued to be a gigantic naval power. Because I do very much need to be a naval power. Which of my fleets has an uneven number of ships? Oceanic fleet. But they're uneven on capital ships. Well, that's fine. Pacific fleet? Ah, and those are the extra ships that are finishing being retrofitted. Ah, that's how it went. Alright. I was wondering why some of my ships were not getting retrofitted as fast as the others. Allies of convenience. Just as the graduated taxation law looked ready to topple, the trade unions found itself rallying with the assistance of Agustin Paras. Now it has the support it needs to pass without compromise. When support was called, the unlikeliest hand in the audience rose. Another hand lifted and a third behind them. The faction with the least to gain from its passage, yet nothing to lose either way, assents. Cheers of exuberance followed howls of defeat as the law charged on ahead. Welcome their support. 5% of trade unions, 5% stronger trade unions, 1% of Afro-American pops become more loyalist, and increase enactment success chance. Or tally this favor, they certainly will. Stronger and happier trade unions on both sides, 5% enactment success chance. I do love the loyalists, but I'm going to go with the second one. Stronger trade unions is very, very good. And Paris is a trade unions guy. Great Britain's damaging relations again. What else is new? How are things going with Egypt? They're going great. They're going just great. Everything's coming up America. Let's take a look at our power block. Yeah, there we go. Actually, we got a lot of leverage in Persia. What about... anything I could do? Leverage generation from treaty. Ooh. Ooh. Trade privileges for trade privileges. Persia, how do you feel about it? That's very good. That's very good. I would love to get Persia into this. Ooh. The Straits of Hormuz are finally available. Alright. Let's... yeah, what do I want? Anyone step in? Russia, maybe. Ooh, Russia's doing republicanism. Let's force a diplomatic play here. Because I want to get both sides of the situation. I'm going to go ahead and add my war goal for... this is Omani Trucial Coast. We'll make that primary. That's a lot of infamy, but it's okay. Protectorate 2.6? Yeah, let's do it. If they surrender, then I won't get a protectorate, but that's okay. I don't need a protectorate. Let's mobilize ye Marine Corps. And the troop transfer fleet can take them, right? Yes. We'll move the troop transfer fleet. We'll move them via the troop transport fleet to Somalia. Alright, and that's our retrofit basically completed. So I think these are the ships that need to be in the Atlantic Fleet, maybe? Pre-dreadnoughts. Pre-dreadnoughts. Okay. Alright. So, something... We're sorting it out. We're sorting it out. 8 more weeks and then we'll go back off our... Ooh, law progress to study. Wonderful. We'll go back off our ship construction and keep our... Keep our finances sorted out. Okay, that was very dumb of me. I need to be more conscientious about that in the future. So I think the way we're going to do this is we're just going to land in Oman. I don't really see a barrier to that. If they say yes, then that's fine. They're fearful, so they're likely to back down. I don't necessarily desire a protectorate over Oman. That's like it would be convenient to have, but it's not critical. The main thing I want is to have a is to be able to get those spots. So the troop transfer fleet is on their way. They're glitching and heading out where they want to be. But again, this is just the game sort of calculating the distance. How long have we been going here? 3 and change. Maybe I'll go another half hour. Maybe I'll just go till the end of the war. Anyway, troop transfer fleet, why don't you just go ahead and dock here for the moment, because we're going to put the Marine Corps into Oman pretty soon. There we go. And they back down. So that's yielded to us Hormuz, which gives us control over the stuff here. These places are down a little bad, to be completely honest. And now we're bordering Persia. Persia, how's it going? So lovely to be neighbors. Aren't you delighted that we're now neighbors? I'll admit that this is largely for the meme what I'm doing right here, but I like having straits. We're gonna get money. We're gonna get money doing this, I tell you what. We're gonna get money doing this, I tell you what. It's gonna be great. Alright, 6 more weeks towards naval fortifications, and then another 5 weeks, and then another 2 years before the Suez Canal is built. I admit I've kind of given up on Sinai, and this is going to delay me continuing to expand in Africa, but you know, that's not the end of the world. Egypt's liberty desire is going down, which is very good, and here's our final maritime supremacy level for reduced navy goods cost. How's that going to change my finances? The new order! Excellent. Placing a new order for navy goods, more like. Didn't change it all that much. Alright. Very nice. And that's the end of ship construction. We'll turn that off. Let's go to our Atlantic fleet. So we still have a 6th American fleet containing 6 ships. I'm not sure what to make of that. These are the modern ships. Were they meant to be in the Pacific Fleet? I think maybe they were. No, they gotta be for the Atlantic Fleet. Alright. We will move these ships to the Atlantic Fleet. We'll move 6 of our iron frigates to the Pacific Fleet. And that'll be just fine. Why are you taking so long? Oh, those are those guys. Alright. What are my freedoms doing over there? Oh, maybe these were meant for the oceanic fleet or something. But these are modern pre-dreadnoughts. Did I beef this? No, I don't know. Anyway. We'll figure it out as time goes by. A novel solution. In Augustin Pares' body of published works, there's a popular new book with a vision of what graduated taxation might look like. Lawyers affiliated with the trade unions say the contents are legally sound. Most of the time, fiction is merely that, something to pass the time. Sometimes, a true vision of possibility creeps through. Once in a blue moon, well-written fiction can change how people think. Every so often from there, however, it might be mistaken for divination. Canvass the public about this light reading. 5% enactment success chance. Stronger and happier trade unions. And Paris goes up in popularity. Procure a copy with our compliments to the author. We pay $4,000 in government expenses a week for a while, for 5 years, and that's an expensive book. Stronger trade unions, but not as strong, and no bonus to happiness, 10% enactment success chance. Or fiction should remain fiction, extra authority for 5, but only for 5 years. Or fiction should remain entertainment, extra authority for 5 years and 5% enactment success chance. We're just going to canvass the public, get him some extra popularity, get ourselves some stronger trade unions. I'm happy with the trade unions being stronger. So, with our fleets coming back, I think now is the time for us to have ourselves a ship that's a pride of the fleet, or whatever they're called. Let me see. These are all... Okay, here we go. USS District of... USS Louisiana. You're the Louisiana. We'll assign you as the flagship. Hey, they got the flags. No figurehead. How dare. Eagle, Neptune, Shield, Eagle. Beautiful. And we got a little crown. We got a little crown here now. Excellent. Oh, I'm so delighted. Students rally to the feminist movement. A group of students attending university in Iowa have arranged a demonstration in support of the feminist movement. The display has inspired other students to join the cause. The lecture hall was barren. There were always 1 or 2 students missing, for illnesses, travel, or family occasions, but nothing of this scale. There were 3 or 4 students per row, each thrown into sharp contrast by the empty seats to their sides. It was material for a lecture of its own, he thought. Like a heap of sand whose grains had blown away one after another until its form suddenly changed, so followed what had once been a class. The youth will lead the United States into the future. Iowa gets extra universal political strength, but reduced university throughput, and the feminist movement becomes stronger. Or they ought to focus on their studies. Half the modifiers for Iowa and 5% of academics pops become more radical, but the feminist movement doesn't increase. I'm going to pick the first one. I think that's fine. I think a stronger feminist movement is not a problem by any stretch of the imagination. We have propertied women right now, but could easily go to women's suffrage without a problem. Next election is going to be... It's not going to be for a little while. It's going to be till 96, I think. Yes. So that should be fine. Oh my. What is this? A Greek uprising against Egypt. Interesting. Where are you? Crete. Egypt is holding Crete. That's what's going on. Alright. Easy peasy. Let me see. Greek uprising. Any forces? Any forces? Fine. We'll just send the Suez Canal force, and that'll be fine. Let's dock the troop transfer fleet here. We prepare for that. Do I want to raise the conscripts? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Oil in Alberta. Very nice. I've spent so much on this canal, it's bananas. Oil in Cyrenaica. Very cool. sickly stall event. A lengthy speech by Clifton Jones took a wild turn after consuming a tainted drink. With his incapacitation, the government has lost one of its most effective advocates for graduated taxation. A page was dispatched shortly after the speech began, and he arrived with the sandwich and the fateful drink. Everyone in the audience could see the long-winded speech became a battle to put down a revolting stomach. Indeed, had the speech stopped, the speaker's dignity would have ended with it. Had it not stopped then, people might have demanded an assassin's head. Wish Clifton Jones a speedy recovery, reduced enactment success chance, 2% of armed forces pops become more loyalist, but he loses popularity, or scour the vicinity for assassins on the double. He becomes wounded, reduced enactment success chance, and much more popular. I'm going to go with the second one. I don't want to lose too much enactment success chance now that we're almost over the line here, because we've got a lot of opposition in the form of the industrialists and the southern planters. And there's going to be yet more to do, I suspect. See, this path, this will be a thing of the past once we've completed our canal. We'll be canaling so good, you'll be really impressed. It'll be bananas how much canaling we're going to do. Ugh, we're paying 50k in interest. Gosh dang. So much. That's okay. We've gotten by without any of the really bad events so far. So hopefully we'll be able to be in good stead. Alright. Now we're charging tolls here. The amount of trade through this canal is modest. This area is modest. No trade through here. But, again, as soon as we got a Suez Canal... I'm playing the long game, my nerds. It's the long game. That's what we're doing. Speaking of which, how long have we been going? 3 hours, 11 minutes. I'll probably... Maybe I'll cut it at the end of the year. I can't stop playing Victoria 3. Send help. Don't send help. I'm doing great. I'm actually doing great. Do not send any help. I am doing great. Quincy McIntosh has died, former magnate. Okay, interesting. Everything's still good in the armies and the Pacific Fleet is short on manpower. Golly gee willikers, I keep building more ships. I keep building more ships, and I keep needing more naval administration. So be it. We'll build up 5 levels in Maine, 5 levels in New Hampshire. We'll go up to 20 levels in Massachusetts, and we'll do 5 levels each in Rhode Island and Connecticut. That should be enough. Coffee talk. Graduated taxation was on everyone's lips in every coffee house. Afterwards, Clifton Jones was ready to cross the armed forces to help pass the law. Wise counsel advises against conflating the voice of the people with the voice of God. Wiser counsel calls the voice of the people mad. The wisest counsel understands that genius and madness are 2 sides of the same coin. It's a matter of knowing when to listen. Welcome this change of heart. 50% chance he gets more popular, 45% chance increased interest group approval and strength, 5% chance he dies, or 5% chance he's exiled, and 5% enactment success chance, or shield him from the armed forces blowback. Weaker armed forces, stronger trade unions, 5% enactment success chance. Going with the second one, stronger trade unions, heck yeah, give me that. Shove that in my mouth. Nom 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 nom. Give me that trade unions bonus. Nom 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 nom. And there's the Greek uprising. Give me just a moment to set up our invasion here. I don't think this is going to go for very long. Perfect. I just wanted to make sure I got in there before Egypt did, so that if they end up having a terrible force and the Greeks put up only a token resistant... Like, Crete's a really hard island to invade. Having studied the Third Reich's aerial invasion of Crete during World War II, like, Crete is a hideously difficult place to attack, an extremely defensible island. Now, happily, because the Greek uprising doesn't appear to have any forces mobilized, hopefully this will get done really fast. Aspiring obligation from Bhutan, okay. Suez Canal Force says low organization, but why? No supplies there. How curious. I wonder why no supplies are being delivered. Is it perhaps because the British are holding... No. It's... I have no idea. Why is... Do I not have sufficient supply ships? Well, whatever. We got them. We got them good. Head back to Suez, please. Alright, come on, graduated taxation. 68% chance, let's do it. Beautiful. That's the money I'm talking about. Alright, beautiful. So, now, what other laws? I could go to Council Republic. No. No? We're dialing back. We're chilling today. Almost nobody's against women's suffrage. Let's do it. Women's suffrage all the way. %33% enactment success chance. Where is the troop transfer fleet? They're heading back to Africa. Alright, beautiful. Once again, we are at 35 weeks, less than a year, for the construction of the Suez Canal. Which is good. It is well into 1895. Now we're really chipping away at our national debt, which is good. Standard of living has kipped up a little bit, which is nice. But the ultimate test here is, let's see what happens when we get building. So, let's electrify the country. Kansas can have an extra power plant as a treat. Yeah, we'll get some Alaska. And it'll be easier to connect the grids if we electrify Canada too. Oop, forgot DC. Alright, where's the double in Kansas? Don't need two of those. Alright. And that's pretty respectable. That number, while building, pretty respectable. Feeling pretty good about that. Norwegian mass immigration? Love it. You love to see it. Alright. There goes the troop transfer fleet once again. Suffrage rally. Rallies in support of women's suffrage law have been taking place around the country, but some of them have been turning violent. Of course, 95% of the protesters are peaceful, but all it takes is one radical element to set things off, and before you know it, we have a whole mob whipped up into a frenzy. Scale back the rallies, 5% enactment success chance, or we'll risk a little violence. 66% chance of 20% enactment success chance, 33% chance of minus 10% enactment success chance, and 20% political movement pop attraction. Interesting. We'll just scale back to that. 10% enactment success chance is just fine. I don't want to risk anything here. We're doing very well. So at this stage, we're looking at just a couple of years to knock our national debt completely down, which I'm feeling pretty good about, all things considered. Electrifying the country will create plenty of opportunities for us. I think we'll go to... Maybe we'll just go to the construction of the Suez Canal. We have to find some depth in the pot. Hold on, weren't we... Yeah, we're headed for corporate governance. We're hurtling towards corporate governance, I tell ya. Maybe we cut military aviation. Yeah, actually, yeah. Let's move military aviation to the bottom, because Defense in depth is good. And corporate governance will be needed to form our next canal company. So, how are my fleets? Do my fleets have enough? Pacific Fleet still doesn't. How did I beef this that bad? I thought I built a bunch of new naval admin. Maybe I need even more naval admin. Maybe I once again went too conservative here. Let's go ahead and build Michigan up to 30 levels. We'll build Texas up to 30 levels. And then we'll build an additional 30 levels in Louisiana. And that should sort us out. Boer mass immigration from Cape Colony. Exciting. Russia's improving relations. Very good. Egypt is getting down there in liberty desire. Very good. And women's suffrage is in study, which is wonderful. Come on, Suez Canal. 15 weeks. I think we might get there by the end of the year, or at least during January of next year, which would be very nice. I would be very delighted with that outcome. Let me see. Let me see. So what are my other ambitions? I do want to continue to chip away at my infamy, because I don't love having infamy. We've got an anti-British league formed. Finally. I feel like we've been wanting an anti-British league for forever. Trade unions are the leaders of that, so that's not going to change much. Alright. 4 weeks of defense in depth. So I think our next stage here is we're going to finish conquering out Ethiopia, and then we'll snag Kordofan from Egypt once they're reduced in autonomy, in liberty desire, which shouldn't take too long. Maybe I should speed the process along by... Well, I can't really do much more while they're a protectorate. They're currently loyal. Legislation imposed on New Granada refused. They refused to ban slavery. Did they? Get regime changed, idiot. Ban it. Ban it, I say. Another thing I would like is to seize all of this territory in Central America and incorporate it into Costa Rica. There's defense in depth, that's good. Wipe out the rest of British involvement here in the Caribbean. And just generally, that would consolidate my hold over the Western Hemisphere to the highest standards. President Zebulon Dayton expects the same level of competence and meticulousness from his ministers as he applies to his own work. Now the president turns his attention to overseeing a particular cog in the machine of government. Hand-picked clerks, both of them, both impeccably dressed according to their means, though the hallmarks of their benefactors shone through. Leftover cigar smoke, a faint brandy stain on a collar corner. Little vices leveraged to another's benefit. Presidential decrees must be followed through, reduce decree cost. The bureaucracy of trade could be more efficient, extra trade capacity, but the expansion of the economy must proceed more quickly. Extra construction center throughput! Heck yeah, construction center throughput. Why are there even other options in that thing? Russia is going after Persia. How absolute dare! Now, Persia and I have an alliance, but they're not calling me, so I actually need to pay attention to this. This will be our last thing before we get rolling here. Okay, actually, I'm not going to wait. So, Marine Corps, Army of Africa, Suez Canal Force. Army of Africa, raise your conscripts. Marine Corps, get there, we're going to need the troop transport fleet. Expeditionary force. Start raising conscripts. Regular army. Likewise. No conscripts for the regular army are needed, not yet. Let's get the... Let me see. Both of these armies need to get their conscripts ready before they go. Let's get the home defense fleet over there. And the oceanic fleet. What's the home defense fleet's carrying capacity? That's the troop transfer fleet. Okay, you've got enough to carry the African fleet, the African army once they're there. So this will be exciting. We've got our Suez Canal. Got our Suez Canal now. I can't believe I didn't build that naval fortification in Sinai. I'm such a goober. Lobbyist lectures in Washington. A man employed by a powerful member of the Anti-Ottoman Association is delivering lectures and pamphlets addressing targeted constituencies in Washington. One lawmaker writes a fellow politician, "Each day he finds me. I know not how. I'm quite disturbed. What are his aims? That hired emissary of the Anti-Ottoman Association haunts the doors of the American Assembly much like the ghost of the murdered banquet. Make it clear that lobbies are responsible for the emissaries they hire. Petite bourgeoisie slightly weakened. Or any concerns about the emissary's behavior are unfounded. Petite bourgeoisie is stronger." I'm going to go with the first one. Having a weaker petite bourgeoisie is good for me. Or at least it's not bad for me. Do I start transferring the regular army over there? I think yes, actually. Yeah. No. Because I need to concern myself with supply at this time. I can't get too buck wild here. Army of Africa is still mobilizing. Because I need to make sure I don't goof myself with supply the way I did in previous runs here. So, the Marine Corps is 45 units. We're going to have an additional 33 up there at the front away from their home waters. So 45 units are costing me 4.5k in supply ships. If I send the Atlantic Fleet to transport an additional 140 battalions of the regular army, therefore, that's going to be 14k supply ships. I think we can do it. Hopefully this doesn't end up being a giant mistake. If it is, we'll find out. Alright, beautiful. Russia is damaging relations. Fair enough. Okay. Your army's not using that much right now, but they're still on boats. Okay. Army of Africa is still accruing their conscripts. A lot of progress to voting. Wonderful. So this army will put on defense for the time being. What is Persia's war goal here? They're looking to seize territory back. Alright. Arms. Excuse me? Ottoman Empire, you bastards. Conquer Crete? Honestly, I'm considering not bothering. Alright, so let's grab the Oceanic Fleet. We will send them to bombard ports. In the land of the Ottoman. Alright, what's our war goal? Here. They want Crete. Transfer of Greece. Now that's interesting. I don't have any return state CBs because Egypt... I can't do any of this stuff for Egypt. So I think we'll just go with... Are you on slavery right now? Are you doing a slavery? They are. I can't do ban slavery. I can do enforce treaty article... Forced law commitment, slavery banned. 32 infamy? Are you cold cereal right now? Okay. Well, we'll do humiliation. Alright. Once the regular army gets here, I think actually the plan is the army of Africa is going to go up here. Now, expeditionary force is overflowing on other units. Excuse me? Where? Russia's naval invading DC, are they? We'll transfer this unit to the army of observation. Okay, well this is our home defense force now. Let's throw 50 more units of infantry and 30 more units of artillery into this army. Expeditionary force I do want to send abroad, so we'll leave them where they are for now. Great Britain sides with the Ottoman Empire. Heck are you on about? Britain, you absolute goobers. This is going to be a whole situation, huh? Okay, so my main force is in Persia. I'm good on that, but I have a supply shortage from the regular army. Alright, that is what it is. Alright, we're going to unpause, we're going to start constructing more supply ships. With that having been said, I think this is going to be a whole situation. So I think I'm going to have to go deal with it next episode. We've had a good long episode, we've gotten plenty of stuff done. So yeah, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.